All right, guys. My name is Salty, and I'm a veteran. Kind of doing this more for entertainment. A lot of it's just research, trying to look in here to see what's going on this stuff. There's so much stuff out there, and this stuff everybody's doing something on it. But I just kind of this stuff's for fun, and like I said, I am just looking into it, doing a little bit of research. I jumped on live. I did it the other day because this is just crazy. I don't know what kind of smoke and mirrors thing or how they just think we don't believe what's going on. So I don't have. I'm a veteran. I served, but I've looked into doing stuff, recon on this stuff, looking for information. Went down the rabbit hole. A lot of this is for entertainment. If you guys want to jump on and fact check it, like I said, it's for fun. I'm not trying to do anything more than just have a little bit of fun and share what I've found and how I don't agree with it and the things from other videos that I watched. I've dug around on the web. Everybody can do it, find the same stuff as I did. The internet's there. I think the government just thinks we can be held smoke over our ears. So, without further ado, I'm going to jump right in, see what we can find, see where we're at on this stuff. Volume's good, everything's good. Viewers are down, but you know what? Maybe they'll pick up as we go. So, go ahead. Thanks for stopping in, Brown Chicken. Nice to see you. Um, It's a little bit different than my normal one. I'm jumping into the Cybertruck thing, jumping down the rabbit hole, trying to share a little bit of information I found. I got stuck on this rabbit hole. I've been stuck on it for a couple of days, and pulled me away from the live at 5. I just got so far down this rabbit hole. It just here we go. We're gonna get started on it and see what you guys think. Let me get this screen up here. We're gonna start off with another video. I'm sure everybody's seen this. It's out there, but it'll get us started in the whole thing. Why did it? A little bit of technical difficulties right off the bat, but we will get through that. All right, so now we're in podcaster mode, but that's not what I'm trying to do. I am trying to. Of course, when it's going to go bad is once you go live. All right, so we're checking in this stuff, trying to bring up my screen. I've Hopefully I should be back, and I am. And now I got it figured out finally. Sorry about the difficulties, everybody, but we got it figured out. So in the end, we will go here. And now we're ready to get going. Sorry about the difficulties. I got it figured out. All right, so we lost a whole bunch of people.
And this guy, Sam Shoemate, are lying to you. This guy, Sam Shoemate, runs this conspiracy theory account called Terminal CWO. I actually caught him last year.
I don't know if Ryan Macbeth has got something out against Terminal CWO, but I don't. There's some thumbnails out there saying Sean Ryan's lying. I think he's checking out these people very well. I think everybody can check stuff out. I'm finding stuff out online. You guys can all find out stuff too. So, but we'll continue this
Spreading fake emails that claimed U.S. pilots weren't getting enough flight hours because all the money was being sent to Ukraine. He's your typical garden variety conspiracy theorist. He was kicked out of the army because he didn't want to take the COVID vaccine, and I can kind of understand that. But dude, don't go around.
I mean, he's kicked out for not taking the COVID vaccine. I mean, can you hold that against him? I mean, that's part of a whole nother conspiracy theory, whole nother rabbit hole people go down, is what that was about. I mean, to tear it down because he ended his career and was out of the military because of a COVID vaccine doesn't make him not reputable for what he does and what he discloses.
Around spreading conspiracy theories because you have an axe to grind. So now this guy has a new fake email. And Sean Ryan let him on his show to talk about how the Cybertruck bomber is actually still alive and he knows gravitic propulsion systems are actually being used by China in drones on the East Coast. This guy is wackadoodle, and Sean Ryan let him just talk.
So he's saying he's wackadoodle. He's a Green Beret. We know that. That's what we're told. But they get checked out and stuff, even to be a Green Beret. Not just there's a lot to this story. And when something stinks, I got too involved into it and had to dig farther into it. So it just didn't smell right. So I took the time, dug in a little bit, and just trying to see what's out there on it and see how bad off it is. And so far, it's looking like something stinks. So, yeah, Ray's Motor Life, he wouldn't have got the shot either. I mean, that's not really a big enough thing for me to disclose.
Regarding Sam Shoemate, I basically have a bunch of JSON data on the guy. And I told him if he lied again, what would happen, but I guess he chose not to listen. So now we're going to do it the hard way, which is actually kind of the way I prefer. So keep in mind, when you listen to this guy, he already has a history of just making up emails out of thin air. He did it with this story, which he posted on Instagram last year. And Sean Ryan, shame on you. Shame on you for not vetting these sources. Sean Ryan and this guy, Sam Shoemate.
So Sean Ryan has quite a few people vetting on his sources. I mean, I don't think he doesn't vet the people. I think he very well did that. But some of the stuff, you grab it and put it out there as soon as you can. But he has, Sean Ryan was a Navy SEAL. He's got background in that stuff. He's got vetting, gets these people vetted before they come on. He just doesn't let anybody on there. I mean, us guys that do podcasts, we don't just grab somebody randomly and throw them up on screen. Some of us do, and it ends badly. You get naked dancing people from other countries. You get all sorts of different things. But you check out a little bit before you put it out there. And that's basically what I've done, and it just doesn't smell right to me. So you can believe what you want to believe on it exactly. There's a lot of different theories out there, but Ray's Motor Life, he's got his theories. Everybody has theories, and this thing. So, yes, I looked at the same thing, and I got a little bit of research on this. So the next thing I did is I jumped into the old internet and I looked up Ryan Macbeth just to see that he wasn't just blowing smoke trying to be a YouTuber, getting all the likes out there like I'm doing for entertainment, getting this stuff out there. But let's take a little look here. Bringing to life of Ryan Macbeth. Ryan Macbeth is an intelligent analyst, software architect, cybersecurity guy, and a YouTube content creator of military intelligence and disinformation topic. So Ryan has a military career. He spent 20 years as anti-armor and heavy weapons infantryman with 2 overseas deployments and developed C4ISR software for Ascended Federal Services. He lives somewhere. I'm not going to put that out there. Everybody else can Google that to find it if they want it. But let's keep going here. This just seems like to me that something's fishy. So to me, it just leads me back to this. I mean, Green Beret, made to look like something he's not. It's Rambo, right? Everybody's seen the movie. It's Rambo. It's yeah, smoke and mirrors. What are they trying to hide from us? Something is going on. You know, I'll grab some likes, some views. Everybody hit that button, subscribe. I'll grab the same thing everybody else is grabbing, but I wanted to find it for myself. I've watched enough videos and spent enough time out there trying to find the stuff. So instead of just keeping it in my tabs and sharing it and looking at it, like I said, I was a veteran. I don't have any special service. I'm not a hero. I just what I'm sick of is watching America get smoke and mirrors and get thrown in other directions and made us look somewhere else when something else is going on. And this one just didn't make sense and it really stunk. So, next up, I dug around here and I thought for the people that don't know, that have been living under the rock, what a Green Beret is, you got a basic
Welcome to a
intro.
glimpse of United States Armed Special Forces, the Green Berets. As an elite special operations force, they're specialists in unconventional warfare, foreign internal defense, direct action, counterterrorism.
So, counterterrorism, unconventional warfare. They have a few other tools in their arsenal. But this just gives you a quick look at what.
And special reconnaissance. Born during the chill of the Cold War, the Green Berets were established as an answer to the world's growing need for specialized warfare capabilities. The Green Berets, always ready to step into the breach, always prepared to face the unknown.
Always prepared to face the unknown. And they've got a ton of stuff in their bag. So they're highly trained, and there's just a lot that goes on. And I've looked into a lot of this and dug around on the web for a while. And I mean, just some stuff just doesn't seem right. And like I said, there's a lot of YouTubers doing this stuff, so it's all over the place. You know what? It's there. Look around, see what you want to look at. If you want to watch mine, watch somebody else's. But check it out for yourself before you just believe what's going on. So, I mean, Veteran Biker threw it out there right off the bat. His thumbnail clicks, complete flip. Liar, calling Sean Ryan a liar, and says he went into hiding. I don't think Sean Ryan went into hiding because of this. I don't. I mean, he's got enough stuff. He's got a bug out bag. A lot of veterans have a bug out bag, but I don't think he went into hiding over something he released. If he did, we should all be scared. So I think a lot of that, he's got a lot of good content on it. He's digging into it the same way I am. He does have a lot of pages and everything. But here is what.
New details emerged about suspect in the Las Vegas Cybertruck explosion as police reveal letters left behind by Army soldier Matthew Livelsberger.
What's scary the most about this is mainstream media, Fox News. We all know how they like to put out the false stuff. And it says ex-Green Beret. He wasn't an ex-Green Beret. He was active duty on leave right off the bat. They're not even correct on that part of the information. He was ex because he's deceased, but that doesn't make him ex. That makes him deceased Green Beret. Who knew Las Vegas suspect? And look at this. Right on their top of that, none of this checks out to them. Fox News saying it doesn't check out. That tells me it stinks.
This is an excerpt from that letter. He says, fellow service members, veterans, and all Americans, time to wake up. We are being led by weak and fecalist leadership who only serve to enrich themselves.
I mean, that's probably the most truth that I found in the whole thing so far, is that our leadership is failing.
This was not a terrorist attack. It was a wake-up call. Americans only pay attention to spectacles and violence. What better way to get my point across than a stunt with fireworks and explosives?
Exactly. A stunt. This is a stunt with fireworks and explosive from a highly trained Special Forces operator.
Our next guest, former Green Beret Tim Kennedy, knew the suspect and is shown here with him.
So that gets farther into this rabbit hole that I've continually fallen down. I'm putting it out there. Hopefully I can climb out of the rabbit hole, get some air, figure this out tomorrow, and move on with my live at 5, which is a whole different kind of live than this. This is out of my wheelhouse. I'm just doing this for fun and getting everything else from everybody. So next thing I did is I went up here and let's see, that was
Here's everything we know about Army Green Beret Master Sergeant Matthew Livelsberger and the Tesla Cybertruck that exploded in front of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas on New Year's Day. There's a lot of information out there and a lot of conspiracies, and we're not really trying to get involved in that, but we're just here to present the information as we know it to be true at this time.
That's exactly how I'm doing it. But look at this. I've pulled up 5 pages so far in this show, and everybody says something's wrong. It's a conspiracy theory. They're lying. So this thing stinks. And I dug farther into this. And every time I looked into something, it was somebody else saying conspiracy, saying something is a lie, and it doesn't work out. So we get into this too. You got to stick around. If you want the answer to that when I get into this, and this just, it stinks. The whole thing just doesn't, Ray, Motor Life, it just doesn't make sense. So,
as with any story like this is subject to change, so stay tuned. Livelsberger joined the Army in January 2006, and he served on active duty until March of 2011. He then went to the National Guard until July of 2012, where he...
The guys, a few people out there put it out there as he was in National Guard, so he wasn't Special Forces. There is a Special Forces National Guard operations group. If you're Special Forces and you go to National Guard and you step down, you probably continue the same MOS. I'm not saying that for sure because I didn't fact check that. That's just common knowledge of what I would believe. They wouldn't take a highly trained soldier and demote him to something else just because he went there. This man has been in the service all this time, and now he's blowing up himself, killing himself, doing all this stuff for political stunts. But why? He's getting ready to retire. He's a highly trained soldier.
He went to the Army Reserves. He served in the Reserves until December 2012 when he went back on active duty, where he's been since. He was stationed in Germany as part of the 10th Special Forces Group and was home in Colorado on approved leave at the time of his death. Some of his personal awards included bronze...
Okay, he was home on approved leave in Colorado. That's a key point to part of my research, because if he's home on leave, he's got family, he's got to be home stationed out of Colorado, which that leads me to figuring out a little bit more down the rabbit hole of where I went with this.
Star with Valor, 4 Bronze Stars, an Army Commendation Medal with Valor, a Meritorious Service Medal, and an Afghanistan Campaign Medal with 3 Bronze Stars. The Bronze Stars on his Afghan medal just mean that he served in 3 separate campaigns for Operation Enduring Freedom. It has been confirmed that he rented the vehicle from Turo on December 28th and drove...
Okay, not only is he got Bronze Stars and decorated, what was the other person in the beginning of this that was highly decorated Green Beret with Bronze Stars? Leads right back to the beginning of that. So this whole thing just stinks, and it just leads back to it. I mean, I'm not a big Rambo fan, but it just seems too much like it. So you just got to think about things like that. And
here's everything we know. Army Green Beret Master Sergeant Matthew Livelsberger.
I pulled up the actual article that guy was holding in his hands and dug into this a little bit farther. He was a Master Sergeant. We all know that. And where was that part of the article? Livelsberger was 37 early 2006 as an 18 X-ray. 18 X-ray means that he was slated to go into special operation. Did not mean he was. It just meant he was a candidate and that he could be selected to go through the training. He was on active duty to 2011, Army Reserve from July 2012 to December 2012. He went back active, so he obviously wanted to continue to serve. So he pulled into Trump Hotel Valet around 8:30 a.m. They've got video. It's on video. The explosion is what's missing. Video when he pulls up is the key content to this whole thing. So when he pulls up, he sits there for a second and it blows up. What there is not is any kind of flash prior to that they've talked about at all, where he'd be firing a gun. They've already said he shot himself with a Desert Eagle. It's in pictures. The gun's kind of melted a little bit, but that's for later too. So what we got here is, his body was burnt beyond recognition. Now, that's believable. I mean, for the amount of level of heat that this fire would have put off, for him to be burnt beyond recognition is completely 100% believable. But here's what I don't understand. This is a little fishy in the statement. So the body is burnt beyond recognition. Everybody's had chicken you put in the stove, burn it. The skin gets burnt, turns black, gets charred. But he was identified by tattoos on his arm and his stomach. Everybody's seen the pictures of the Cybertruck on how hot it was, and we'll get into that part of it later. But they found his military ID on burned and his passport. I mean, this stuff stinks. I mean, how does a ID card that's got plastic over it, like your driver's license? I mean, if you got it hot, it's gonna melt. Everything else is melting in the car in this extreme tent. His passport doesn't melt. Anybody with a passport knows it's just paper, so laminated just like his ID. And they found his iPhone and his smartwatch. Amazing, all that stuff, and several credit cards with his name on them. That they could still read the name on them out of all that heat of that fire. So this just stinks. This is a fail. Not only is it a fail and the operation did not complete, but it's a failed cover-up and a failed trying to make a, what do they think, we're dumb? I mean, this is horrible. So we'll go down here a little bit farther. For those of you that don't know, E8 is a master sergeant. Their yearly pay, he's special forces, he gets a little bit more. But the hourly pay on this, I cracked up. He says 32 to 59 to 46 to 48. The hourly pay, you're in the military 24 hours a day, 365. So you're not getting that hourly pay thing unless you're trying to look into doing it. You make a ton of money if you get in the military. Go see a recruiter, join up. I think everybody should spend some time in the service if they're eligible. But I'm not here to recruit people and talk to them. I'm not trying to do that. What I'm trying to do is figure things out. So X up, after we know that, digging into his pay grade a little bit, we'll go here to, remember the Tim Kennedy? All right, we got a commercial.
All right, welcome back, guys. I know that we just put out a video earlier today, but this story has gotten so crazy so fast. And I know what you guys are probably expecting is me to talk about the update from the Sean Ryan podcast with that crazy manifesto in the email. Maybe we'll get to that, but this is even crazier, and I bet you guys have not seen this yet.
Right on it. The title is not clickbait. Valhalla, this guy puts out good information. I follow it, and he's got a good show, and I'm going to get farther into that. But, I mean,
just came across my desk. I know from the thumbnail, the title, you guys probably think I'm completely trolling. I swear to God, and we will just show this video right at the start that this is real. Tim Kennedy and Matt Livelsberger on an episode of Inside Edition together as teammates.
Now, if you don't know who Tim Kennedy is a Green Beret. He wrote a book. Yeah, he's got some ridiculing on that, but that's not what this one's about. But that's just why this is kind of part of the rabbit hole.
Like a decade ago has just surfaced. To add to just the insanity and the weirdness, we have to just jump into it and let's watch.
So this guy's a Green Beret also, and this stuff just gets crazy. So I dug into it, and I found the same kind of thing that he found. It's a little bit easier to watch than.
It's a reality show that pits teams of elite soldiers from around the world.
Now, this just came out, the same thing, digging through this stuff. I find the same video, and Inside Edition is reporting on it that something doesn't seem right. I mean, now we've got, what is it, 9? We're up to like 9 different sources, news sources, not just podcasters, not YouTubers. We have actual news things that we never believe anyways, but none of them believe it's right. This is just crazy. So
It's a reality show that pits teams of elite soldiers from around the world against each other.
Matt and Tim from the U.S. Army Special Forces, better known as the Green Berets.
Matthew Livelsberger and his partner Tim Kelly, both Green Berets, appeared on the Ultimate Soldier Challenge 12 years ago.
You know, for television, they always try to make it a little bit more competitive, but we swept the whole entire show.
When he appeared on the show, Livelsberger used a shortened version of his name, Matt Berg. So it took Tim Kelly a while to put 2 and 2 together.
And then I saw a Matt Berg with an older photo of him, and I was like, oh no, dude, I know that guy. And then it just.
So this part of the thing gets me a little bit. This is where it gets a little crazy. So Tim Kennedy's talking about this because he's trying to clear his own name and the fact that he knew the guy. But he's like, oh, Matt Bird. Yeah, but I'm going to tell you, these guys in the teams, these guys are tight. It's a tight-knit relationship. You were on a TV show with him. You don't think they told each other that they weren't using their real names, that he had shortened his name up? You don't think that ever came out? That came out. So Tim Kennedy is just trying to clear himself up a little bit right there because he's already been underneath a ton of scrutiny. So I can almost guarantee that they had talks after this part of the TV show, but I'm not saying that for sure. And like I said in the beginning, this is all entertainment. But if you want to check out some things, go ahead.
Just like tore my heart out because he was a really great Green Beret.
And what was he like?
He was charming. He was talented. He was personable. He was kind. He was all the things that you would expect from a Green Beret.
It's a reality.
So there he is on a reality show. And so he's been out there. But my question comes in with this part of it right here. This is where it really started to get interesting. Another one that I dug into that I followed.
Very capable guy, but he loves the Tesla, which Elon Musk brags about being bulletproof, right?
Now, that is true. Elon Musk does brag highly about the Cybertruck, not only by the shape or anything, but the size of it, the way it's built. It's a strong vehicle. They're ugly as hell, but the flat panels, everything like that, sort of resembles a military vehicle with a flatness, which means if it did explode, it wouldn't spin a bunch of small shrapnel pieces or explode easier, in my own theory.
So this is one of his selling points. It's bulletproof. We even saw Joe Rogan shoot an arrow at it and wasn't able to puncture this thing. So he loads up a Tesla knowing it's not explode like he wants it to with fireworks and a bunch of other junk when he can make a car bomb that's going to level this place. Here's what I think. The Army PAO is saying that the body inside the cab did not match the DNA of his.
Now, PAO is saying the body inside the cab did not match the DNA of his son. Now, are they trying to put it out there that he's cracked a little because he found out it wasn't his own son that he thought? Or did they slip up and slide a little Easter egg in there telling us, hey, well, it's the DNA didn't match in our positive identification that they put out, that they identified the burnt beyond recognition body by the tattoos on his stomach and forearms and by his ID, passport, all this stuff earlier in the video that they said that they found in a highly burned Tesla that exploded by fireworks.
His child. All right. We also know they said he was shot by a desert eagle. We know that there was no signature when it rolled up. So nobody shot themselves when it rolled up to it. You would have seen a large.
I said the same thing in the very beginning of this when I talked about it. They said he shot himself. There is no flash. A desert eagle, it's going to put off a good flash. There's nothing on the video. There's nothing. Just explosion.
Large signature. Mr. Guns and Gear, he's on X. He goes into this a lot in depth. He's a firearms expert and he talks about this. And there's no signature. So this is what happens. You get a Tesla because you know it can drive itself to the hotel, the Trump Tower. You put a body in it, roll it up. You don't.
All right, so that part of it, they've already attacked it, saying that you got to have a person in the car that can drive it. Now, I dug a little bit farther in this a little bit later in the video that gets interesting. This whole thing gets so interesting.
You don't want to kill anybody because that's not the message you're trying to send. You're not trying to level the tower or kill a bunch of people. So you load it up with firearm or fireworks and a bunch of junk to send a message. And we know that his signal number or his signal safety number changed. That can't be done unless you're inside that signal account. And a lot of people conjecture was the F.
So there's a lot of stuff going on there. But we're going to continue on with our rabbit hole from that. And let's look at the fact that the electric car fire, a little bit of highlight of this.
People that are making fun of these new electric car fire
extinguishers need to understand something. Electric car fires are an absolute freaking nightmare to put out. The average car fire burns around 1,500 degrees or so. It takes about 1,000 gallons to put out on a bad car fire. Electric car fires are burning upwards of 5,000 degrees and can take up to 40,000 gallons of water to put out. In fact, some of them had to have been submerged in water for up to 30 days.
That's from a firefighter in Firefighter Chronicles. The temperatures that he talks about are what's important. 1,500 degrees is a normal car fire. Everybody's lit off firecrackers, things like that. You might have burned yourself at one time. Your finger might even turn black. So imagine the mass amount of what you see in that fire.
To actually put them out, and sometimes self-igniting up to 3 times before they're extinguished forever. So whatever the hell they're going to give us, man, we'll take it.
Yeah, so that's from a firefighter on the temperatures. So I dug into that because that was a question. I was like, man, these electric car fires, you hear about how hot they burn and everything. So this is what that car looked like, or the Cybertruck looked like. Look at how black and charred everything is, but they were able to identify the guy by his tattoos. Does anybody out there think that they could really identify this guy from a tattoo when he came out of something that was burned up and melted like this? The windshield started to melt. Everything's black and charred. The guy's body would have been black and charred. I'm not a tattoo. I have tattoos, but I know that if you put a piece of chicken in the oven and you overcook it, it gets black and charred. You peel the skin, it turns to powder. Third degree burn is into the muscle, so you're past all the dermatology where the tattoo is. I don't believe they identified it by his tattoos. Personally, I don't. I don't think it's possible. Maybe they did. But what's just funny is all the stuff, the interior is melted out of this car. You're going to tell me his clothes didn't catch on fire? You're going to tell me his ID didn't burn up? His passport was in there? Credit cards with his name on it? All this stuff that they're telling, they identified him by, positively identified him. But then put a little Easter egg out there that, well, his DNA didn't match his son's DNA. So that's either they're trying to say that he cracked and he went off the haywire and PTSD and shot himself. But these guys don't shoot them. If they don't hurt other people. When a veteran cracks, he don't hurt his family or he don't hurt other people. He hurts himself. He doesn't take out a bunch of other people. That's not the way they're wired. At least not most of them that I've heard of doing it or the ones that I know. So all that heat. So let's go in here and how hot can an EV, because that was an EV vehicle. How hot can an EV vehicle be? Right off from the old Microsoft, typical, in an EV fire burns at a roughly 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. While gasoline power vehicle on fire burns at 1,500 degrees Fahrenheit. It takes about 2,000 gallons to extinguish the fire. So let's think about that. It was an EV car, but if it's 1,500 degrees melting and did not ignite the electric, if it didn't ignite the EV battery, which would burn at 5,000 degrees because of the lithium ion. So we're going to say it's burning at 1,500 degrees. We'll consider it for our research purposes, for entertainment only. We're going to consider this, that it only got to 1,500 degrees, which is 815 degrees Celsius. It's not as hot as 5,000 degrees, but I can guarantee you one thing, I wouldn't stick my hand in there. And I probably wouldn't have any tattoos left on my arm if I pull my arm back out. Just saying that part doesn't add up. So we come down here, and I tried to Google what happens at tattoo images at this temperature. Nothing would come up. What I did figure out is that at 1,200 to 1,600 degrees Celsius, is the temperature of an incinerator is typically higher than ignition temperature, which is minimum temperature. So an incinerators burn at 1,200 to 1,500 degrees Celsius. So we go back to the other number because I forgot what Celsius transfers to. Wait. So 815 degrees Celsius is half of what an incinerator burns. So what that means is, hey, it's not going to burn the bone. And for the skull to crush inside of an incinerator, they hit it with a hammer and knock a hole in it so it'll melt. or crack it. So, but that's a little bit more information that I read on there. Another whole part of the rabbit hole. But so if it's a normal gasoline powered car, it's burned at 815 degrees, and they were still able to. Okay, it's not as hot as an incinerator, so maybe it didn't burn his skin off him. I've seen some TV shows with some pretty burned up people that didn't see that kind of temperature. Just saying. So after all that, and continually digging. We're gonna go here. I'm gonna move through this one a little bit.
Being able to have something, always protect myself with this Byrna allows me to have that peace of mind.
I mean, we've talked about this.
This one comes from the War Room. This is a good show. I'm not gonna share their whole thing. I just want to share on one little topic of this show that I watched, and we're gonna start right here about the 15.
Try to paint it as, you know, this dude was suicidal and another horrible marriage went wrong. And
now, remember, I mentioned this earlier when they talked about the DNA. These guys hit right on the same thing. So I kind of started thinking, man, this rabbit hole is getting funny. And this is like the 10th page that I've looked at to see this.
And I didn't know what the motive was until I listened to that one a podcast from Sean Ryan, and just to find out, oh, he's been emailing everyone about this shit. Now, as far as his reasoning, him targeting war crimes as the reason why he's trying to shed more. Because if you guys think about it, it's pretty fucking strategic, right? It's Trump Tower right in front of the Trump name. It's a Tesla truck, which, you know, since election day, it's been Elon and Donald Trump, right? That's the unorthodox couple.
I mean, that's one thing I hit on too, is that Elon Musk and Donald Trump have teamed up. I mean, he literally put the Cybertruck from Elon Musk in front of a Trump hotel in Las Vegas. I mean, this was planned out. This wasn't just this was very strategic. Green Beret, Special Forces guys, they're wired a little differently. They definitely did some thinking. They don't just jump off the whim and do something weird. Well, they do jump out of planes, but that's a whole different story.
What better way to get publicity but to park it right there? Right? And with all the threats that's been taking place against Donald Trump and all of that. So he knew exactly what he was doing, and he planned to the T. The only question I have now is, whose fucking body is it? Right? Like,
now, you notice in the question I asked if he thought he was alive, these guys probably knew him one way, maybe knew him, trained with him. Somebody that they knew probably knew somebody, because the teams are, like I said earlier, are tight. So we're going to go a little bit farther, but there is a lot of them too. So that's almost like saying if you live in North Carolina, you know somebody else that lives there. So,
because he also mentioned that the FBI or somebody was telling him.
Some Las Vegas homeless vagrant's body, dude. He was in Vegas. I mean, like,
yeah.
I mean, that's it. The DNA didn't match. They said that, so they let a little Easter egg out.
It's Las Vegas, dude. You think people don't go missing fucking literally every day in Vegas?
Ladies and gentlemen, call on your buddies that's in Vegas and check up on him.
Wait,
Chris,
Aaron ain't here.
You do an
Aaron
intro?
ain't here, Jay.
That's true. Aaron's not here.
Aaron's not here. You think he popped Aaron?
Oh shit!
No, Aaron's been texting.
And plus, Aaron put that IG post out.
Aaron's in the chat.
Hey, man, let me say something. You say what you want. Unless we see Aaron's face, I mean, this GB changed his signal number after he got fucking supposedly killed in the truck. I'm telling you, there's some spooky stuff going on.
I just got a text. Apparently, Matt Tardio's about to drop like some crazy fucking thing nobody knows about in like 30 minutes on X too, related to this. So who knows? It's probably about to start getting even fucking weirder.
Interesting. You know, I got to tell you one thing.
Now
I saw.
So this is 5 guys on the screen. They're special operators of different branches of service. I checked a little bit of it out, but they're all calling bullshit too. I mean, so if it smells like a rat or it smells like a skunk, it's probably a skunk. Don't believe everything you hear.
I saw something. Sorry, Jay, real quick. I was flipped on, the news. I rarely ever watch the news. Same thing, Chris. Very targeted with it. Just want to see what's going on. I tend to try to read some different publications to get something that's been peer reviewed or has some
rigor, intellectual rigor put to it. But yeah, I saw this woman. She was on it was on CNN or somewhere, and she just started going into this, this PTSD vet narrative. And I'm like, you know what, man? I'm like, this is some bullshit. It's the first thing coming out of her mouth. I know he's under duress, had PTSD. I'm thinking, this is
PTSD soldiers. They don't hurt themselves, or they hurt themselves. They don't hurt other people. He's going to feed on the same
wrong
thing.
Message to send to America, And she was someone who had worked with veterans in the VA or something before. I'm just like, this is the wrong damn message, And actually, the CNN host dialed her back. Was like, well, it's not just that. There are potentially some other things going on. Got her back on track. But I was really disappointed. So, I mean, everybody out there, just know that, PTSD doesn't mean you turn into some psycho. You get some stuff you're dealing with. There are lots of people who have PTSD for different reasons, right? I mean, all kinds of different things qualify as trauma. So I just wanted to make that public service announcement. That was disappointing for me.
Yeah, and it's an easy go-to that everyone always takes, right? Because even
these guys don't. When they take themselves out because of PTSD or things like that, they take themselves out. They don't go out to hurt somebody else. They don't go out to hurt their families. They take themselves out. They don't take out a bunch of other people with them. They're not wired that way, even when they go haywire. So let's jump right down here. I'm going to have to do the old fast forward to the Green Beret Chronicle part of it after the commercial. Shoot. All right, so we're going to skip here to all right, this is a little bit about where he served at.
So you're thinking about joining special forces MOS. You can reclaim.
All right, here we go.
A slot open on that team. You become an 18 Fox.
There's different jobs, and this is what he's gone over. He's gone over all the different jobs.
So that is the 18 Fox MOS. Let's now talk about the 18 Zulu. Now the 18.
Whoops, I lost it. I got to find it again. Sorry. That's why. I skipped through the podcast when I was spinning. That's why. Hold on just a second. So,
what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel.
That's why I skipped through. All right, here we go.
Right. Now let's move on to 10th Special Forces Group. All right, guys, 10th Special Forces Group. They are stationed out of Fort Carson, Colorado, and they are.
All right, 10th Special Forces Group out of Colorado. He was home on leave. He drove from Colorado to Las Vegas in the Cybertruck. So, putting the pieces together, I'm going to guess that his primary stateside duty station was with the 10th Special Forces in Colorado. What are they trained in?
They're responsible for Yukon, right? So it's not uncommon for those dudes to deploy to, Sweden and some of those other places and just hit the slopes and just have a good old time while they're training their Yukon partners. Now, the stereotype and the stigma that follows 10th Special Forces Group is that they don't have a lot of combat times, right? It's not.
So there's up earlier, we've seen some interviews where they talked about he was combat, PTSD. Not saying he didn't see combat, but they don't. He's saying that the 10th Special Forces guys don't see a lot of combat. So that's can be distinguished two different ways. I don't want to be fact checked on it. I'm just saying that there's some keywords here that I'm looking into when I do this, because this is for entertainment. I'm not saying I know all the Special Forces stuff in the world, because I'm not wired like that.
Not uncommon to be a SWIC, to have a 10th Special Forces guy rotate in and he doesn't have a combat patch. And I'm like, dude, what is going on? You and I went through the Q course together like 10 years ago. Like, you haven't deployed? nah, man, I've just been in Yukon, living my best life. So that's not uncommon, right? So that's the stereotype and the stigma that follows those dudes over the 10th Special Forces group over at Fort Carson, Colorado. If I've missed any of the...
So we go from there, which sent me down the unconventional warfare path. Unconventional warfare. Unconventional warfare consists of activities conducted to enable a resistance movement of insurgency to coerce, distribute, overthrow, and occupying power of government by operating through or within an underground auxiliary of guerrilla force in a denied area. So that's what we got there. So let's understand the approach.
Understanding the U.S. Army's approach to unconventional warfare, a guide for success. The United States Army is one of the most prominent military forces in the world. Known for their strategic planning and successful execution, the U.S.
Known for their strategic planning and successful execution. That's what Green Berets are known for. They're the quiet professionals for a reason. They don't fail a lot.
The U.S. Army has built a reputation of winning wars and conflicts through their training, equipment, and technology. However, not all battles can be won through traditional means. In situations where conventional methods fail, the U.S. Army employs a unique approach: unconventional warfare. Unconventional warfare is a tactic used when conventional military methods are insufficient or not applicable. It relies on the utilization of small units and guerrilla tactics to achieve strategic objectives. The U.S. Army has been practicing and refining this approach for decades, and it has been successful in a variety of conflicts, including the Vietnam War and the Iraq War. The key to understanding the U.S. Army's approach to unconventional warfare is to realize that it is not just a military tactic, but
it's not just a military tactic for unconventional warfare.
It also relies heavily on the understanding of the cultural, social, and economic landscape of the target area.
I mean, social, economic, Las Vegas, Trump Hotel, Elon Musk. I mean, he put a lot of pieces together on this.
The U.S. Army focuses on three main pillars when implementing unconventional warfare: political, military, and economic. The political pillar is about understanding the role of the target area's government and the political ideologies that may be at play. It involves the development of relationships with local politicians, community leaders, and influential individuals. Through these relationships, the U.S. Army can establish a base of trusted allies who can provide information and support. The military pillar involves the formation of small, specialized units that employ guerrilla warfare tactics. These units are trained to operate within the target area's terrain and are tasked with achieving specific objectives. They are often made up of locals who have been trained by the U.S. Army and have intimate knowledge of the target area. The economic pillar involves the manipulation of the target area's economic situation to achieve strategic objectives.
Strategic objectives. So he's using his military training to pull this off. And if you remember back in the beginning of the video, he had stated that it's just crazy that all that's, there's too many things going on. So we're down here. We've understood that. But so this is where it gets a little more funny, because Elon Musk said that the car can't be driven without I forgot how he worded it, but basically he's saying a live person in front of the vehicle. So it couldn't be driven without a live person that's responsive driving it. So the theory they're trying to debunk the theory on it being driven without anybody alive in it. Like everybody's thinking that he didn't off himself, that he sent somebody else. But so Matt, in part of his 10th Special Forces, he worked with the RAS strategy stuff, which is drones, other things that he talked about. But RAS is a remote operated vehicles, and robotic strategy development's been used for a long time by the military. But it is very highly used. So he's trained in training people in how to operate vehicles remotely. So why would he not pick a Cybertruck that can drive itself, a Tesla that can drive itself, that can carry the explosives in it? But what I'm not getting is he's a special forces guy. I mean, all across the board, at some time or another, he learned some explosive detonation, EOD, demolitions at some point or another. Why would he use what he used? Did he want to fail, or did he not want to cause any damage? You know, there's a lot of stuff going on here that just doesn't add up. But they just keep pointing one way, and then as soon as it just keeps getting thrown into different directions. But this RAS stuff is robotics. It's vehicles driven from different places. I mean, it all seems like, hey, let's grab a body off the street in Vegas, stick it in the car, make it look like something it's not. Let's throw a little bit of smoke and mirrors up and blame it all on Rambo, because Rambo can be the scapegoat because he was a Green Beret, decorated, and the movie did well, and they probably forgot about First Blood. So it just seems funny that they pick out somebody like that to pin it on, especially with all the money they spend on training. With that being said, we're getting near the what a rabbit hole stuff that I found. But one of the things they do is they get seer training, which leads me to believe he's still alive because of this. So he gets seer training, so that please, but if you know what that is, here it is.
SEER, which stands for Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape, is a U.S. military training program. It teaches survival skills, how to evade capture,
evade capture, escape techniques, and application.
The Air Force originally created the program after World War II for personnel at high risk of capture. During the Vietnam War, SEER training was extended to the other branches as well. Today, there are multiple levels of SEER training. Level C is the most advanced level and trains special operators and aircrew, as well as personnel most at risk of capture and exploitation because of their job.
Okay, so he would probably be a level C because of his job. He does unconventional warfare and is a special operator. I could highly see him as a level C.
Or rank. Level C training is highly secretive, and only those who have gone through it know the details. This level puts trainees through an intense 21-day course of classroom and field instruction on SEER skills. Trainees survive in the field while being hunted by an enemy force they must evade until they are ultimately captured. After capture, trainees are detained in a mock prison where their ability to resist interrogation and exploitation is tested. The trainees are worn down.
So my own theory on this is that he grabbed somebody up and stuck him in the truck, drove the truck there, shot him somewhere else, made it look like it was him, stuffed him in the truck. The truck drove itself there with the technology that he probably used and blew it up. And this guy's probably on his way to Mexico because there's just too many things that don't add up. And I just think it's a smoke and mirror thing. That's my own personal opinion. I mean, there's just too much stuff that doesn't add up. Good to see you back, Damon. Thanks for stopping in. This whole thing to me is whacked, and I don't believe it. So I just went through all of that stuff, and it's just kind of with the rabbit hole. I just wanted to put that out there because I was sitting on it, and I'm like, yeah, I need to get rid of this stuff so I can get out of this rabbit hole because I'm not wanting to be stuck in there. But, you know, these guys are trained highly, and they send all this extra school, and I just don't think it's going to be the Rambo kind of scenario. And I think there's a lot more that's going to come out of this story. There's so many channels out there. I mean, like I said, Fox News is calling it bluff. And if these popular places are calling it bluff, I think I'm going to have to say that I'm not going to believe 100% of what I'm seeing on the whole thing. So I ran a poll earlier, just kind of real quick. I don't think a bunch of people did it. So I'll just take a look at it real quick and see. I don't know, only had 10 votes. 20% said it's a conspiracy theory, 30% said they're dead, 50% said it's alive. So I would say more people think it's alive than anything. So I think that was a good poll. I think that kind of worked out the way that I'm feeling. And I think Americans are really starting to believe that, we can't always just jump right in and believe what people are telling us. So if you're joining us later, I'm sorry, you can watch it on the retake. I might go back through and play some stuff. But I find it hard to believe that people just aren't out there believing what they see. There's so many people talking about it. There's so many lives going on about it. And I'd climbed down the rabbit hole, got everything ready. I want to dump all this stuff off, throw it in the description, get rid of it all, and not have to keep thinking about it and try to climb out of the rabbit hole and get some fresh air. The good thing is if things go haywire, I can just grab the bug out bag, and I found a good rabbit hole to jump down and take a look at what's going on, because I'm telling you that the smoke and mirrors thing that's going on just isn't doing it for me. So I appreciate everybody coming in and checking it out. This guy's saying don't join the military. I don't think the military is a bad thing. I think there's a lot of people. Raised Motor Life earlier said, so why would he kill himself over a statement or a stunt? That's exactly what I'm thinking. I don't think things are the way that they are. I think that things are being talked about and spread out, because the biggest thing that in this, I'm going to go back and bring up a picture. The biggest thing that kills me is the picture that they show all over the news. There's pictures of a gun too, but they show an ID card, which in the thumbnail, ID card's barely melted and doesn't look bad. So it was in a fire like that, but it didn't melt a military ID card that's basically a piece of paper with, I forgot what they call that coating. It's like a plastic coating to put over it. And passport that didn't melt, plastic credit cards that didn't melt, thin plastic didn't melt in that kind of heat. He was burnt beyond recognition, but they identified him by tattoos. It's a pretty hot fire to not char the body and show that kind of stuff. So it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Appreciate the people that are sticking around watching this stuff. Hit that like button. Even if you don't like it, hit the dislike button. If you like what's put out, hit the subscribe. I'm outside of my well horse. This was more of an entertainment thing, and I fell down a rabbit hole doing it and just putting it out there. But they said the body was burned beyond recognition, but identified it by tattoos and ID cards and credit cards that he had on him. So it just didn't make a lot of sense. And a fire like that, I don't see how they can make it out. So everybody, I hope everybody's not getting a bunch of snow. We're going to see how the things go. Watching the Lions game. It's 9-10, Minnesota, right close. Dumb Old Fool stopping in. How you doing, Dumb Old Fool? Nice to see you. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for the thumbs up. I'm outside of my wheel horse on this. This is outside of the Live at 5. I got tied up down a rabbit hole for the last couple days searching this stuff and just going through it. So I jumped on so I can dump the rabbit hole, climb out, get some fresh air, get going on the Live at 5, the small channel spotlight, everything else, news and more, motorcycles and the more stuff I can find. So it's been one of them things down the rabbit hole, jumping out there. Part of it's for entertainment purposes only, because I don't care if you fact check me, because I could be wrong. I found the stuff on the internet. So it just it just smells like horrible. So I've been going at it for an hour for the first segment of it, going through everything. If you're here and you didn't catch the first part of it, you don't have to stick around, because I'm going to probably run through the same thing again. See if I can do a little bit quicker, a little bit smoother, get it out there, get those people in here, taking a look at it, and going from there. So that puts us at the 60-minute mark. And everybody, thanks for stopping in. But I'm going to hit it back from the beginning and go right through it again. So if you're just sitting in there watching, or you're a bot, you're probably not going to want to stick around, because it's going to be boring.
Welcome to the United States Army Special Forces, the Green Berets. As an elite special operations force, they're specialists in unconventional warfare.
Unconventional warfare and they're specialists. Do you really think that they're going to not set things up? But then you got things
Sean
like this
Ryan
out
and
there.
this guy Shumate are lying to you. This guy, Sam Shumate, runs this conspiracy theory account called Terminal CWO. I actually caught him last year spreading fake emails that claimed U.S. pilots weren't getting enough flight hours because all the money was being sent to Ukraine. He's your typical garden variety conspiracy theorist. He was kicked out of the army because he didn't want to take the COVID vaccine, and I can kind of understand that, but dude, don't go.
I fact checked this guy and I did a little bit of research on him. I don't think he's lying. I think what he's saying, this guy got kicked out for a COVID vaccine. But I think he's just got a little chip on his shoulder, but we'll let it finish out. I don't think that, I'm sure that Sean Ryan vetted the guest a little bit more, but you don't know everything about him. When they come
Around
on your
spreading
show.
conspiracy theories because you have an axe to grind. So now this guy has a new fake email. And Sean Ryan led him on his show to talk about how the Cybertruck bomber is actually still alive and he knows gravitic propulsion systems are actually being used by China in.
All right, John Wolfel, thanks for coming in for the replay. I'm going to actually run it again and kind of do a live replay. But if you want to stick around and come through this thing and ask questions, tell me what you think on it. I think the guy's still alive just because of what I found in the way that I've looked at this. So if you want to stick around, definitely do. I'm just hanging out, killing some time, looking into this. So Ryan McBeth.
Drones on the East Coast. This guy is wackadoodle, and Sean Ryan let him just talk. So regarding Sam.
So he's calling it wackadoodle. I mean, I don't really think the guy's that whacked. I mean, this stuff's very believable.
Shumate, I basically have a bunch of JSON data on the guy. And I told him if he lied again, what would happen, but I guess he chose not to listen. So now we're going to do it the hard way, which is actually kind of the way I prefer. So keep in mind, when you listen to this guy, he already has a history of just making up emails out of thin air. He did it with this story, which he posted on Instagram.
I jumped over, did a little bit of research on Ryan McBeth off from his own website. But Ryan McBeth is an intelligent analyst, software architect, cybersecurity guy, and a YouTube content creator of military intelligence and disinformation topic. He appears on Newsmax as an intelligent consultant and consults for velocity and information warfare. Ryan spent 20 years as an anti-armor and heavy weapons infantryman with 2 overseas deployments and developed some software for excellent federal services. He lives in the United States. It's on his webpage if you're really curious. I'm not going to spread that out there. But so you go on to all this stuff, and to me, it sounds so familiar. I don't know where I've heard some story about a decorated Green Beret soldier going whack, blowing stuff up. Anybody else see anything familiar? Any ideas of what might have happened? But anyways, with that being said, let's look at this.
Welcome to
the Green Beret?
The United States Army Special Forces, the Green Berets. As an elite special operations force, they're specialists in unconventional warfare, foreign internal defense, direct action, counterterrorism, and special reconnaissance. Born during the chill of the Cold War, the Green Berets were established as an answer to the world's growing need for specialized warfare capabilities. The Green Berets, always ready to step into the breach, always prepared to face the unknown. Stay curious, stay informed. Welcome to a glimpse.
So that's what the Green Beret is. I went over it earlier and showed there's just so much that doesn't seem like it's believable. You don't know which side's where and what to believe on this. So not sure. Give me just a second. Get a text. So yeah, I'm not sure what to really believe on it. It just doesn't seem like it's there. I believe he's alive because of his training, and that's my own personal thoughts. I put the thing out there, 50% of the people think that he is. That's half, more than I think it's a 20%, I think it was, that thinks it's a conspiracy theory. And I mean, I got to tell you, it stinks. I mean, Fox News telling it stinks. There's so many people that are saying that this stuff stinks that I'm going to have to go with it stinks. It just doesn't smell right. It's just a huge, I've got so many links on there, so much stuff on there. It's unbelievable to me that it's there. But we only have 3 people in the side chat, so it didn't go as well as I planned. Thought there'd be a few more people out there, but it is what it is. So I'm going to run the replay of the first show on this and see what we can find. Robotics search study confirmed the utility wall and see what sticks and see who believes now and seeing what's going on.
Because you have an axe to grind. So now this guy has a new fake email. And Sean Ryan let him on his show to talk about how the Cybertruck bomber is actually still alive and he knows gravitic propulsion systems are actually being used by China in drones on the East Coast. This guy is wackadoodle, and Sean Ryan let him just talk. So regarding Sam Shoemake, I basically have a bunch of JSON data on the guy. And I told him if he lied again, what would happen, but I guess he chose not to listen. So now we're going to do it the hard way, which is actually kind of the way I prefer. So keep in mind, when you listen to this guy, he already has a history of just making up emails out of thin air. He did it.
I mean, that's right. I mean, what do we believe now? With everything going on and the way the news shares everything, we have no idea on even who to believe or what is going on. Looking at all that stuff now and seeing what's going on, I started digging into it a little bit. I was in the service a little bit and kind of got a little bit of history.
With this story, which you posted on Instagram last year.
And you got over there, that's just a little short I pulled off from one of them. I mean, this is like a full-blown, this guy's special forces, all sorts of stuff. I started looking into things, he was part of the 10th group out of Colorado, which is, you can figure out what they do and what they specialize in. They're on conventional warfare, which we'll get a little bit into that, but I went through a bunch of pages and did what I could to find a little bit of information across the board on this, because I kind of fell into a rabbit hole watching some videos on it, started doing some research. I was like, man, everybody's putting stuff out. It's all on the internet. You can search this stuff too. It's pretty easy. I mean, but do a little bit of the research yourself before you start figuring it out. And the farther I started digging and started going this morning, it started looking more and more and more like conspiracy, like, hey, we're going to throw all this stuff at the wall and see what sticks and see who believes. So I started really kind of going into it. That's kind of what I was going to go over is, and the farther I started looking at it, the Green Berets there's a lot of stuff and everybody knows who they are, what they are. It's out there. It's not hidden. It's not a lie. I mean, there's been movies about this stuff for a long time. Everybody should know who that is in the pictures. Special forces, they're special, you know, they're trained a lot. So, but Sean Ryan, you know, oops, that's the same one I just did that I started off with. But that guy's saying that one guy's a conspiracy theory and that he's lying and everything. And I mean, you got a veteran biker. I follow his stuff, watch his videos, and you go to his lives. He's going right off from what this guy said, calling him a liar. Some of the stuff I think might be clickbait. He says, you know, is Sean Ryan hiding because of what he came out with? You know, maybe he is. I mean, but why is he in hiding if he went in hiding? Sean Ryan's an ex-Navy SEAL. He's trained in unconventional warfare. He's trained. I'm sure he's got a bug-out bag. A lot of us veterans have a bug-out bag. But why would he run? I mean, this isn't the first high-profile thing that he's covered or kind of interview. Canada even, they gave him a cease and desist on some of his stuff. I mean, Sean Ryan's a pretty credible source, does a lot of research. He doesn't just let people on his show. He's got a team that investigates it. He knows what he's doing. So he's against the news, just like a lot of us are. But this is exactly it. Robin, you are right on course with what I was looking at. There's a lot to this that doesn't make sense. So I kept begging. So, I mean, right off from the Sean Ryan show, they said it. I mean, think about this.
Very capable guy. He loads the Tesla up, which Elon Musk brags about being bulletproof, right? So this is one of his selling points. It's bulletproof. We even saw Joe Rogan shoot an arrow at it and wasn't able to puncture this thing. So he loads up a Tesla knowing it's not explode like he wants it to with fireworks and a bunch of other junk when he can make a car bomb that's going to level this place. Here's what I think. The Army PAO is saying that the body inside the cab did not match the DNA of his child. All right. We also know they said he was shot by a desert eagle. We know that there was no signature when it.
So, I mean, he's exactly right. The guy knows his research. These guys are trained. Special forces, you know, they have EOD guys that work with them. They have specially trained explosive ordnance guys. But here's the thing. The Army came right out and said, was that a smoke and mirrors thing to make us think, okay, his son's DNA didn't match the body inside? Or is it that body inside wasn't Matt? Did he do something else there? I mean, there could be several reasons on that, but this guy is trained in special forces, in unconventional warfare, all that stuff. He knows what he's doing. He's not going to take fireworks. I mean, that's like taking a knife to a gunfight. You know, did he intend to hurt people? Probably not. Was he trying to get his story out? Probably. He was trying to do a lot of things, or it was pick Trump Tower. Is that, you know, inauguration day is coming, what, Monday? All that stuff's coming soon. And why all of a sudden? We know that they put smoke and mirrors out there to hide things and to make us look another direction. But I mean, they make us like we're stupid and we can't do the research
so nobody
ourselves.
shot themselves when it rolled up to it. You would have seen a large signature. Mr. Guns and Gear, he's on X. He goes into this a lot in depth. He's a firearms expert and he talks about this. There's no signature. So this is what happens.
He's trying to hurt
You get a
nobody either.
Tesla
I think
because
he was
you know it
trying
can drive
to
itself to the hotel,
get a
the
message
Trump
out,
Tower.
but this
You put a
stuff gets
body in
scarier
it,
the
roll it
farther
up.
I
You
dug
don't want
into
to
this,
kill anybody because that's not the
stick around,
message.
'cause
you're trying to send. You're not trying to level the tower or kill a bunch of people. So you load it up
I
with
wanted to put it out there.
fireworks and a bunch
That's
of
kinda when I
junk
was
to send
looking
a
at it. I'm
message.
just gonna put it out
And
there 'cause I
we
think
know that
you're
his
doing this.
signal
So some of
number
the
or his
stuff when I
signal
read it, I'm gonna be
safety
kinda reading it
number
for the first
changed.
time,
That
putting it
can't
out
be
there.
done unless you're
And,
inside
hey, Evil Rick,
that signal account. And
I
a
know
lot
you
of
don't
people
like this
conjecture was
outlet,
the
but I wanted
FBI
to
inside his signal account,
real
whatever else.
quick
But
and
what if
flip this
he
way,
accidentally
so it's
changed his
easier
safety
for
number,
me to
goofed
just
up
split
there?
screen
He
it.
rolled a body up in a Tesla specifically because a Tesla can drive itself up to
Can
the
you guys hear
tower
the
and did what he
video?
did to send a message to expose his stuff.
Chat?
And he's still alive out there somewhere. Very capable guy, but he loads the Tesla up, which Elon Musk brags about being bulletproof, right?
So this thing's bulletproof, like Elon Musk said, but not only bulletproof. Welcome to the rabbit hole. That's right. Yes, I fell into the rabbit hole head first on this one. So a Tesla is bulletproof per se, okay? But this guy is trained. He did some research on this. He didn't just decide this in 24 hours to throw us together. These guys are trained in thinking. They have good brains. They're checked out. All this stuff is checked out. They go through rigorous training to get through these areas. All of a sudden, he's going to pick a vehicle that just by design, if you look at the Tesla trucks are ugly, the Cybertrucks are ugly. There's not a good look to them, but just by the design of them versus if you look like a Hummer or a Humvee or something like that, they're boxy, they're flat sided, so they're not going to explode and push a bunch of shrapnel out. And just the material, I mean, that was, like he said, it was they shot it with an arrow, couldn't portray it. I think they probably shot it with more than an arrow, but that's just what they're putting out there. And
so this is one of his selling points. It's bulletproof. We even saw Joe Rogan shoot an arrow at it and wasn't able to puncture this thing. So he loads up a Tesla knowing it's not explode like he wants it to with fireworks and a bunch of other junk when he can make a car bomb that's going to level this place. Here's what I think. The Army PAO is saying that the body inside the cab did not match the DNA of his child. All right.
So the DNA didn't match his child. Are they trying to fool us here and make us think that he did this because it was he found out that it wasn't his son? No. What you have to do is you have to look at the fact that maybe there's blatantly putting it right out there because they don't think we'll catch up to it. They don't even know if it's really his body. Hey, Ray's Motor Life, I fell in the rabbit hole head first on this. Just kind of started digging and just kind of fell in, throwing this stuff out there. But yes, I'll get to that here shortly, Robin. That is something I've checked into. I mean, I've dug into this. I spent a lot of the morning kind of just following some of these videos and slowly working. I figured out how people fall in the rabbit hole very easily on this stuff. So after I watched that short and figured that out, I already been to the veteran biker thing. But let's go over here and see this one right here.
Here's everything we know about Army Green Beret Master Sergeant Matthew Livelsberger and the Tesla Cybertruck that exploded in front of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas on New Year's Day. There's a lot of information out there and a lot of conspiracies, and we're not really trying to get involved in that, but we're just here to present the information as we know it to be true at this time.
I'm exactly doing what that guy said, and that short right there, he's a smaller channel than these other guys that are doing this. And yes, Evil Rick, I shared that earlier. That's kind of what I started. That's what started my rabbit hole off right here. Evil Rick is exactly what started it off. So these guys are special forces guys. They are a tight-knit group of people, not only in the whole operation of SOCOM and things like that, but in the individual teams. These guys are very tight. They're a very tight-knit community. They're loose-lipped. They're the silent professionals. They go by that. They go by that kind of thing. So all this stuff coming out is starting to get a little bit fishy smelling. If it smells like a fish, it could be a fish. So I found that,
as with any story like this is subject to change, so stay tuned. Livelsberger joined the Army in January 2006, and he served on active duty until March of 2011. He then went to the National Guard until July of 2012, where he went to the Army Reserves.
Even when he was in the Army Reserves from active forces, he was in the Special Forces Regiment of the Army Reserves from the information that I found. Not saying it's 100% true, but it's very well could be that. So we'll continue with this, guys, because he kind of got this off of the same article I did, and we'll go from there.
He served in the reserves until December of 2012 when he went back on active duty, where he's been since. He was stationed in Germany as part of the 10th Special Forces Group and was home in Colorado on approved leave at the time of his death. Some of his
Now, I dug into the 10th Special Forces Group a little bit. Like I said, I'm trying not to put out misinformation on only putting out what I found on the web because it smells so fishy that I just couldn't stick around to look at it. Like, if it's there, it's there. So we're going to look at this and see.
Personal awards include a Bronze Star with Valor, 4 Bronze Stars, an Army Commendation Medal with Valor, a Meritorious Service Medal, and an Afghanistan Campaign Medal with 3 Bronze Stars. The Bronze Stars on his Afghan medal just mean that he served in 3 separate campaigns for Operation Enduring Freedom. It has been confirmed that he rented the vehicle from Turo on December 28th and drove it to Las Vegas, and that it was his body that was found inside the truck. Also,
so this guy says it was confirmed that it was his body. But who confirmed that it's his body? How did they know it? They said it was burned beyond recognition, and they released the information that it was his body awfully quick for that to be happening. Not saying it doesn't happen. There's DNA, things like that. But the DNA of the body, they said, if you remember, didn't match the DNA of his child. So
found in the truck were his military ID, his passport, a phone, a smartwatch, 2 handguns, including.
I mean, it doesn't take a genius to think about it. If you want to make it look like something happened that didn't happen, you want to throw an ID and passport and stuff in there. I mean, that's the quickest way to make it look like it's somebody. It's burn up. I mean, that fire, correct me if I'm wrong, that fire looked like it was pretty hot, burning like an inferno, like they said, inside that Cybertruck. These pieces of paper, plastic covered, laminated IDs didn't melt in that fire, but they burned the body unrecognitionable. Tell me how that didn't happen. Exactly. That's exactly where I was going with those images. So all those decorations and everything that this guy,
including 150 caliber Desert Eagle and a short barrel 308 rifle. In the bed of the truck, there were fireworks and gas cans. And in this video,
look how burned up the guns were, and the pieces of plastic identification didn't burn. Come on. I mean, we can't be that blatantly blind in this whole situation. So I continue to look at things on this, and I mean, just with the fact he's decorated and everything, it just keeps me looking back, and it just keeps going back to this. I mean, come on. Hollywood's just this. We're not dumb on this stuff. I mean, like I said, I was in the military. I did some research on my own on this, just because things just didn't add up. And how often does it happen that they don't add up? I mean, so this is a good question also. When you have a military ID, like this guy would have, why would you have a passport? Because you would not travel with your passport. You don't travel with your passport. You travel with your military identification, which works with the passport. You have no need to have a passport with you at the same time. So we go through this news article. This news article I found is from Colorado. It's from the Colorado newspaper. It's the same kind of things that he read out. It says he was a master sergeant, which we all know that. A master sergeant, that's a senior chief in the Navy, which is a E8. So he was E8. He had been in for some time. He was getting close to retirement. He enlisted in 2006. 18 X-ray. 18 X-ray is a broad term special forces thing when you enlist into the Army. It makes you a candidate. It does not mean you're going to get the job. It means that they will look at you. Part of when I was reading through this, and I'll share these all in the links in the description once I get done, like I do on all my other lives, like my live at 5 so that I do. But so one thing is, when it says he pulled in, then they got it on video. He pulled into Trump Tower valet parking around 8:30 a.m. Wednesday, and within 17 seconds, the truck exploded while parked at the valet park pull-up. So they've seen this whole thing on camera. If he shot himself with the Desert Eagle 50 caliber, like they're saying, there's no flash in any of the video where gunfire went off. Nobody heard a gunfire. Nobody heard nothing. So he shot himself. The picture, the gun they're showing doesn't have a silencer on it. So there was no flashbang, no nothing from the gunfire. So that doesn't make sense itself. So fire so hot, exactly. The fire was so hot it caused steel girders to melt. Impossible. But the fine paperwork they had on them, it doesn't make sense. And that's what caused me to fall down the rabbit hole. Is I kept digging and kept looking. And yes, Harley Ryder, I put that out right in the beginning. I think he's alive. And if you watch this, you're going to see more reasons why, because of the digging that I did into this. I fell into your rabbit hole hard. I was going to send you a message, but I was like, I started watching all these different videos, and I'm like, I can't believe nobody has said this yet. We are not this bad. And I'd gladly continue this later on, maybe even on yours as I get more into it. But I just wanted to kind of show people while I was in it real time, you know, this is like, we're not this bad off. So Livelsberger body was burnt beyond recognition. The Las Vegas sheriff said by tattoos on an arm and stomach. Surveillance video and electric charging station tracking shows he was the only driver of the truck. So also Teslas have software in them, cameras, things on the inside of them, but that comes up farther down here. But he was burned beyond recognition. So skin burns faster than bone. How Motobomb's a tattoo artist. I know tattoo artists, but if you're going to burn, give me just a second. All right, sorry about that. I'm had to take a quick bathroom break. I get something to drink. But yeah, so all this stuff is not making sense. There's a lot of things that are happening, and Robin's right. We are in this. I fell into this rabbit hole, and I am looking at this thing. So all of that being said, they burned his body, but tattoos are on the skin, so they're gonna burn. And if you ever seen a burned body, they're brown, crisp. And I highly doubt that there was visible tattoos that they could identify that easily to say it's body. I could be wrong there, but it just doesn't make sense. 7 people nearby had minor injuries and several were taken to a hospital, according to officials. So the motivation is unknown, but it's not that I believe that email is right because he was trying to reach out to people. And the people that he talked to and the people that are putting that out there, I semi-believe them because they come from reputable sources and they don't just put the stuff out there because they're credible. They're not smoke and mirrors kind of people and everything like that. So I keep on reading down here. He talks to people and things about that. So he was also on a TV show with Tim Kennedy and things like that. And I dug farther in that. It all goes through this whole article, and I'm going to share that article out there. But so that brings us to the next point. So he was a master sergeant. So just for those people that don't know, the E8 is a master sergeant. You know, it tells their pay and everything, what they make. I mean, they make an okay. The hourly pay is way off because you work way more hours than that, but it just doesn't matter. He was getting ready to retire and be out of there. And exactly. But these people are putting this out, and this is things that we should forget, that we don't forget. And it doesn't make sense. And I'm sick of the smoke and mirrors thing. I mean, we need some kind of check going on there. And so he was E8. So, but Tim Kennedy and him were on a TV show.
All right, welcome back, guys. I know that we just put out a video earlier today, but this story has gotten so crazy so fast. And I know what you guys are probably expecting is me to talk about the update from the Sean Ryan podcast with that crazy manifesto in the email. Maybe we'll get to that, but this is even crazier, and I bet you guys have not seen this yet. Just came across my desk. I know from the thumbnail, the title, you guys probably think I'm completely.
So yeah, even these guys that aren't conspiracy theorists are like, man, this is a conspiracy. This guy's podcast, he's got a really good one. It's not clickbait, and I'll share his link. I mean, I watched this guy's show.
Really trolling. I swear to God, and we will just show this video right at the start that this is real. Tim Kennedy and Matt Livelsberger on an episode of Inside Edition together as teammates like a decade ago has just surfaced. To add to just the insanity and the weirdness, we have to just jump into it and let's watch. Here we go, guys.
It's a reality show that pits teams of elite soldiers from around the world against each other.
Matt and Tim from the U.S. Army Special Forces, better known as the Green Berets.
So it shows how good he was in the service in this stuff. differently. So I'm probably going to change this a little bit here, make it easier for me to see, and we're going to go from there. So sorry, like I said, sorry about that. Hopefully we still got a few people watching, but so it's not clickbait like they said, but then I went searched and I found it from the
It's a reality show that pits teams of elite soldiers from around the world against each other.
Matt and Tim from the U.S. Army Special Forces, better known as the Green Berets.
Matthew Livelsberger and his partner Tim Kelly, both Green Berets, appeared on the Ultimate Soldier Challenge 12 years ago.
You know, for television, they always try to make it a little bit more competitive, but we swept the whole entire show.
When he appeared,
so that's Tim Kennedy talking about it. They're right side by side. If you don't know who Tim Kennedy is, Tim Kennedy is a Special Forces guy that wrote a book. His book's been talked about, whether some of the stuff is true or not. But he was right on this TV show side by side.
On the show, Livelsberger used a shortened version of his name, Matt Bird. So it took Tim Kelly a while to put 2 and 2 together.
And then I saw a Matt Berg with a older photo of him, and I was like, oh no, dude, I know that guy. And then it just like tore my heart out because he was a really great Green Beret.
And what was he like?
Okay, so like, you really think on the TV show that when he was going by Matt Bird, that he didn't tell his teammate who he really was, that he was using a short name? No, he knew that. He's trying to cover up the fact that he knew that, in my own opinion. That's my thought on that.
He was charming. He was talented. He was personable. He was kind. He was all the things that you would expect from a Green Beret.
It's a reality show that pits teams of elite soldiers from around the world against each other.
Matt and Tim.
So he's a Green Beret. We all know that they're trained in special warfare, special operations, special forces. That's why it's special forces. They got to have some training in explosives. Are you going to use fireworks, some campfire stuff, fuels, things like that for it? No. It is just huge. And it doesn't make sense. There's just more and more that comes out that makes it seem less and less believable. I mean, it's coming all over the
It's a reality show that pits teams of elite soldiers from around the world against each other.
This has got to be part of a conspiracy, or something is not being told the truth. So getting farther into this,
Welcome to a glimpse of the United States Army Special Forces, the Green Berets. As an elite special operations force, they're specialists in unconventional warfare, foreign internal defense, direct action, counterterrorism, and special reconnaissance.
I mean, this is just easy stuff to find on the internet. These are shorts that are put out there, but this already says what they're trained in. Yes, it was called the Ultimate Soldier. That is what the show was called. But
born during the chill of the Cold War, the Green Berets were established as an answer to the world's growing need for specialized warfare capabilities. The Green Berets, always ready to
all right, guys, I'm back. So the conspiracy theories, all that stuff, everything's happening for a reason, but we have to go here. Oops. Give me 2 seconds. I got to fix something. Somehow, maybe. Fix my background so everything looks better. Looks better there. There we go. Let's get out of here and drop the camera back on. Let's see if it worked. And of course it did not. So we'll jump in here while I'm still up on here. Go to my settings. put that up there. Let's see how it works out. And exit out of the settings. And exit out. Get things set up. Things sometimes just don't want to work the way they're supposed to, but that's okay. We'll get through it, and hopefully, you can pick up some viewers that are interested in this subject, and somebody will give us their thoughts on what they think is going on. This stuff is just crazy. So, well, I guess we're gonna have a background. So there we go. But this stuff is just crazy. Only got one person viewing, one person hanging out. There's pretty boring stuff going on. So I don't have a whole lot more. Just the same stuff that we've already gone over. Ain't nobody coming in hanging out. Can't even find a bot right now, which is pretty unusual for a trying to find anybody who wants to hang out, talk about this, see what was going on. We did kind of the replay on it, went through a bunch of the stuff and seeing what was out there. But like I said before, this whole thing there's so much going on there that it just seems too much like the good old Rambo movie. There's too much that points it out that says that it's a Rambo movie. So I believe that that's what it is. John Rambo, right there he is. Everybody looking into this thing, I think the guy's alive. I do. I think we're going to find out later that the DNA didn't match because it wasn't his body inside the truck. That's really how I feel, is that the DNA was not his DNA because it didn't match his kit because it wasn't him. Because I still strongly feel that this guy didn't off himself. When they crack, they're wired differently, but when they crack, they don't hurt other people. They don't take off, hurt other people, or try to do anything like that. They're just their own kind of people. So if nobody else is coming in, and we'll run this for about 15 minutes, see how things go. Double Fool was in earlier. He stopped out. But I'm just chilling out here watching the football game. Lions are killing Minnesota Vikings 31-9. Leaving the live stream up, trying to get a little bit more fun out of it, a little bit of time, and get some of them watch hours. If you've stuck around this long as that one viewer, it's all right. I get bored too. That's why I'm just sitting here watching a football game talking to nobody. But that being said, hope everybody has a good night. Hope nobody's getting super snowed in, and everybody is good. All right, so other than just run the feed out and everything like that, I am going to let it set for about 15 more minutes, see if anybody else comes in and joins us. Otherwise, I am going to end this because the one viewer is probably just a bot hanging around. So nobody really hung out, checked it all out. My stuff's not that interesting. I understand. There's plenty of better channels out there to be a part of and watch. I get it. It's a late night live stream. We're going to end this one. And I'll probably jump back in a few minutes. We'll try to figure out something else to throw in there. We got 6 people all of a sudden jump in and want to watch. If anybody's interested, throw something in the side chat. We can start this off with figuring out what's going on. If it's a conspiracy, I personally think the guy's alive. He might be dead, but chances are, by the looks of it, this man is alive. It just doesn't add up. The story is there. It points out to the John Rambo. I did this for entertainment. If you want to look through and go back through, watch the replay, and fact check any of my stuff, I don't mind because I find it all off the interweb and stole it right out of other people's videos and just went over what they said and what I believe and how I think that it's a smoke and mirrors thing. And I think that along with that, I'm watching the football game at the same time, and I do believe the Lions are going to beat Minnesota. If anybody else can prove me wrong at this point in the game, I don't think it's going to happen. So since we have some people in here, let's roll that tape and see what we can figure out. Is anybody interested in figuring it out? If so, I will drop the... We're back. He's live. He is alive. Yes. Yes, I do believe he is alive. And if you want to watch the live and hang out for a while, we can go over what I found and see. Has there been a DNA test? Yes, there has been a DNA test. It's going to show up in my video here. I'm getting ready to dive back into it. I took a slow break because there was nobody in. And yes, I'm a very salty asshole. But that's okay. We can take a look at this and dive in. And I do believe he is alive because it doesn't add up. I think it's a smoke and mirrors thing. They said there was a DNA test. And with that being a DNA test, they said it didn't match his son, but I think it's because of the same reason some other people saying some stuff. So let's dive in here, take a little look at this, and see what we can find. So let's go right in, right off the bat. We're going to look at a little bit of the start here. Hey, what's going on, little seal? Let's see what's going on here. We're going to
Sean
start
Ryan,
off with what they say.
Sam are lying to you. This guy, Sam Shoemate, runs this conspiracy theory account called Terminal CWO. I actually caught him last year spreading fake emails that claimed U.S. pilots weren't getting enough flight hours because all the money was being sent to Ukraine. He's your typical garden variety conspiracy theorist. He was kicked out of the Army because he didn't want to take the COVID vaccine. I can kind of understand.
So this guy's nailing him for getting kicked out for not doing another conspiracy theory of the COVID vaccine. But he's kicked out on this stuff, and he's standing against it. But to me, none of this stuff adds up anyways. So Ryan McBeth puts out some good information, good channels, and yes, but it just doesn't make sense.
Understand that, but dude, don't go around spreading conspiracy theories because you have an axe to grind. So now this guy has a new fake email, and Sean Ryan let him on his show to talk about how the Cybertruck bomber is actually still alive, and he knows gravitic propulsion systems are actually being used by China in drones on the East Coast.
That is 100% right. And Andy, I believe the same exact way that you do, and there's other people and stuff that I found in here that does the same thing. That's what I'm checking into.
This guy is wackadoodle, and Sean Ryan let him just talk. So regarding Sam Shoemate, I basically have a bunch of JSON data on the guy, and I told him if he lied again what would happen, but I guess he chose not to listen. So now we're going to do it the hard way, which is actually kind of the way I prefer. So
whether he lied or not, what he did is they broke the news out and made all these people, all these other creators like myself, like you guys, want to dig in and figure it out. So Ryan McBeth, everybody's checking it out. So if he brought a little bit more to the table on it and his theory, but it's still, there's things that don't add up. He just found an MMA.
Keep in mind, when you listen to this guy, he already has a history of just making up emails out of thin air. He did it with this story, which he posted on Instagram last year. And Sean Ryan, shame on you. Shame on you for not vetting these sources. Sean Ryan and this guy, Sam Shoemate, are lying to you. This guy, Sam Shoemate, runs this conspiracy theory account called Terminal C.
So that's where we're at with him. But I did dig in a little bit here on him just so I could show everybody that it is the fact that he's not just blowing smoke. This guy knows what he's talking about. Whoops. hit the wrong button. Ryan Macbeth is an intelligence analyst, software architect, cybersecurity guy. He's a plain out nerd. Just like most of us that are on the computer, we ain't got no lives. And a YouTube content creator of military intelligence and disinformation topics. He appears on Newsmax as an intelligence consultant. Ryan spent 20 years as an anti-armor and heavy weapons infantryman with 2 overseas deployments and developed software for acute federal services. So he knows what he's talking about. He does his checks. He vetters it. So that is where they're at there. But I mean, it all still goes back to the old John Rambo stuff. Everything you look at, it's, you know, if you're new to the world and you've been living underneath the rock, I'm going to give you a quick briefing, safety brief, whatever you want to call it. Let's look into it and start digging in a little bit here. What is a Green Beret, you ask? Well, here's a little video.
Welcome to glimpse of the United States Army Special Forces, the Green Berets. As an elite special operations force, they're specialists in unconventional warfare, foreign internal defense, direct action, counterterrorism, and special reconnaissance.
So basically everything that they specialize in the Special Forces as a Green Beret, he has used here in Las Vegas, and we'll figure out some more. So here is the rest of the video.
Born during the chill of the Cold War, the Green Berets were established as an answer to the world's growing need for specialized warfare capabilities. The Green Berets, always ready to step into the breach, always prepared to face the unknown. Stay curious, stay informed. Well,
so that's what the Green Beret are. That's just a quick thing. And I do believe that this is some kind of look the other way. No, they are not Indian, and you must have been living under the rock. But stick around and find out if you don't know what a Green Beret is. That was a quick briefing on it. But I think that you probably have heard it. But if not, this is what the actual Green Beret looks like. He's a very decorated soldier, been all over the place, and everybody should know this is what a Green Beret is. I mean, this is what it just makes it out like. It's a Hollywood thing, and this has all just been made up. I am reading the chat. So I can even tag yours to let you know that I've seen it. So I am reading the chat. So thank you for stopping in. Like I told you earlier, I appreciate everybody coming in. And I can also bring up the next comment. So I am taking a look at it. So everybody, thanks for coming in, checking it out. And we'll move on to the next part of this. So since we did the quick briefing on trying to tell the people that were uninformed of what a Green Beret was and they were wanting, but other people, there's other creators like the Veteran Biker. I mean, he's dug into it. You can go to his channel, take a look at it. I'm reading the chat. It doesn't bother me. So keep commenting, please. Hey, hit that like button, hit that dislike, unsubscribe, but check it out because you're here in the chat hanging out. It's good to see you in here. Everybody else read. You heard they're an Indian. They could very well be an Indian. What's up? How you doing, bud? So we got complete flip on what the story is. There's a lot of this stuff is clickbait, but Veteran Biker puts out some good content on it because he digs into it too. And who got to Sam Shoemate? It's a complete flip. You know, we call him a liar, it's just there's so much going on. And then he's got Sean Ryan went into hiding. I doubt that Sean Ryan went into hiding over this. He's had other big conspiracy things. He's had a cease and desist by Canada stories. If he's in hiding because of this story, we all need to be hiding. Grab your bug out bags, find a rabbit hole, jump down it, because I dug down this one and it's a deep one. But I've come up for some air to share this stuff, get it off my chest and get out of here because this rabbit hole can go on and keep you going in different directions. But without further ado, we're going to jump into right here what we know.
New details emerge about the suspect in the Las Vegas Cybertruck explosion as police reveal letters left behind by Army soldier Matthew Livelsberger.
Now, before I read these letters, this is from Fox News, where right off the top, they've dumped it off here and got it as ex-Green Beret. He was active duty on leave. He's not an ex-Green Beret. He died. He's deceased. He didn't get out and die. He is deceased. So it should be read deceased Green Beret. Who knew? Las Vegas suspect. None of this checks out. Now, this is Fox News reporting. Everybody knows Fox News doesn't put out the best stuff. Fox News reporting, and it says it doesn't check out.
This is an excerpt from that letter. He says, fellow service members, veterans, and all Americans, time to wake up. We are being led by weak and feckless leadership who only serve to enrich themselves. This was not a terrorist attack. It was a wake-up call. Americans only pay attention to spectacles and violence. What better way to get my point across than a stunt with fireworks and explosives?
I definitely think there's something behind this and behind a lot of this, and we're going to get farther into this. Keep following along. Hit that like, hit that subscribe.
Our next guest, former Green Beret Tim Kennedy, knew the suspect and is shown here with him. They both competed in a military-style reality show. He joins us now.
And we're going to get farther into the Tim Kennedy part of it later on in the show, so keep around. But we're going to figure this out because I truly do believe this guy is alive. I dropped in the side chat earlier with a poll. We're going to get that set up right now while we're sitting real quick and see what you guys think. Answer, do what you want, but do... All right, so we're going to put that in there. All right, go up there, check out that poll real quick, and now we're going to get back on it. So without further ado, I threw the poll up there. Take a vote, see what you think. I told you I figured it out. Good. All right, let somebody else know because FBI can't figure it out, and they're the best at this stuff. So we got 12 people jumping in. So here we go with what's going on. Next up, we have what we know.
Here's everything we know about Army Green Beret Master Sergeant Matthew Livelsberger and the Tesla Cybertruck that exploded in front of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas on New Year's Day. There's a lot of information out there and a lot of conspiracies, and we're not really trying to get involved in that.
There is a lot of conspiracies out there. There's so many of them. I'm like 5 minutes into all this stuff, and I've shared like 5 videos, and people are all saying the same thing. It's conspiracy theories, lies. Things aren't being told the truth. So let's keep digging in and see what we can find.
We're just here to present the information as we know it to be true at this time. As with any story like this is subject to change, so stay tuned. Livelsberger joined the Army in January 2006, and he served on active duty until March of 2011. He then went to the National Guard until July of 2012.
So they act like he went to the National Guard, and because of the National Guard, that's not that, National Guard, he still served Special Forces because just because he stepped down doesn't mean he was demoted. He was still a Special Forces operator in the National Guard. I would be willing to bet on that, but I don't bet, and this is for entertainment. If you want to fact check the stuff, see what's out there, is all good. So we're going to continue on and keep going.
Where he went to the Army Reserves. He served in the Reserves until December of 2012 when he went back on active duty, where he's been since. He was stationed in Germany.
JBM just blew up Matt Livelsberger. Well, Sean, if you just blew him up, you did a better job than he did because I don't believe he did.
Germany as part of the 10th Special Forces Group and was home in Colorado on approved leave at the time of his death. Some of his personal awards include a Bronze Star with Valor, 4 Bronze Stars, an Army Commendation Medal with Valor, a Meritorious Service Medal, and an Afghanistan Campaign Medal with 3 Bronze Stars.
Do all those awards and the fact that he is going to do all this stuff, does it all sound familiar? All those awards and everything? Let's see here. The Bronze Star. Who else had a Bronze Star that was framed for something they didn't do? Oh, there he is. John Rambo. But anyways, I went back and I found the article, the same article that the guy was reading in the video. I wanted to hit on some few key points inside of this video because it just doesn't add up. He was a 19 military career, so he was 19 years in. He's pretty close to getting out of there. And you were a wait a second. We got somebody important here. We have D-Life. He was a Delta SEAL Badger. Nice. Good to hear that. The same time as Tim Kennedy. Good job. Can you confirm the books and stories on his thing? Can you tell us a little bit about your service as a SEAL? I'd really like to hear some of that stuff. Please inform me of what you know about being a SEAL. We're going to take time out here because we have a actual SEAL in here that can give us some enlightenment on what his theory is on what happened. So D-Life, if you could please speak up and tell us what you know about Tim Kennedy. What about his book? I mean, is the stuff true in the book? You know, what parts aren't true and how what parts should be redacted? And then maybe you can tell us a little bit about the SEAL life. This is huge news, guys. This is breaking right now. I need to change my headline. I've got a SEAL inside of the side chat. This is awesome. I am happy to see this. And, they're popping in, man. These guys are popping up like crazy. We got a little SEAL here, but hey, it's okay to have some SEALs hanging out. Everybody likes a little bit of SEALs, and we can get a seal of approval from these guys. So everybody give the SEALs in the room a round of applause. Let's see what we got going on. You got to really be careful what you say. It's secret what you share. Let's hear some secrets. Share something. I bet you. Let's hear something out of there. You got to have some kind of information. You got to have some kind of story out there you can give us. That SEAL life, there's got to be something, some training stories. I mean, what class you're in, anything like that, or somebody you were in there with. I mean, that stuff's out there, so let's hear what you got. It's not secret. John Kravitz, thanks for stopping in. So checking out the SEALs that we have in here. I had to take a quick pause because the SEALs dropped in. I wanted to hear what they had on the Green Beret stuff, and they could fill me in. But they're not wanting to speak up. I'm willing to bet it's because their stuff is classified. They can't talk about it because they weren't there. So when we say they weren't there at all. They probably don't even have a piece of paper that's a DD-214 or anything. But it's always good. Like I said, we got some SEALs in here so we can get a seal of approval on my show and I can get on with it. So, Tim Kennedy invented the red dot site with a friend of his. So, maybe he did, but maybe he didn't. There's probably more truth to the fact that he invented the red dot site than there is that you were a Navy SEAL. Prove me wrong. Please do prove me wrong on that. So you claimed you were a SEAL and you want to call it Tim Kennedy. What he's not is a Green Beret. So prove me wrong that you were a SEAL. I'd like to see that. Let's say. All right, so next up, I'm just jumping right back into this because I am not a specialist of anything. I was just a veteran that served, but I think this stinks, and I think they're running names to the dirt, and I don't think that the government is telling us the right things. So, wait, before we get back to it, D-Life, Tim and I were the only two that made it to Special Force Delta SEAL Badger group. Huh. Nice. Good job. Glad to see you guys made it there. I'd like to hear some more on that. I just don't believe any of that's true. But it's always nice. Like I said, give me your seal of approval. I'm happy to have you in here. So, with all that being said, 37 enlisted. He was enlisted in 2006 as 18 X-ray. 18 X-ray was a candidate for Special Forces. Did not mean that he was going to be a Special Forces. It just gave him that chance to go through the selective board. So, if you come down here, all this stuff says it pulled up, and all this stuff that says he went to Las Vegas. We know that. We watched the whole thing. But this is a part that I wanted to touch on, and I scratched it because I was trying to follow the chat. All right, so Livelsberger's body was burnt beyond recognition. Now, this is what I just can't understand. Is Las Vegas sheriff said that he was burnt beyond recognition, but then it turns around and says burnt beyond recognition, but tattoos on the arm and stomach were used to identify him. So anybody that into this stuff and thinks about it, that you have all this stuff happen, you're burnt beyond recognition. If anybody's ever burnt a piece of chicken or anything and it gets charred, you can't tell the skin, and you start to touch it, it scrapes, it flakes. So I don't see how they can identify that. But on top of that, the investigators found his military ID that did not melt, and a passport, 2 semi-automatic firearms, an iPhone and a smartwatch, and several plastic credit cards that did not melt. So that's just amazing. So that is like just crazy stuff. And so we're going to jump right on here in the web. Like I said, this is all stuff that's out there, and it comes from, some of the stuff comes from the internet. Other stuff on here comes from very good sources, very reliable things. So I put out there what we know, and it says that he was a master sergeant. Master sergeant is an E8. Here's a kicker. When you put this out there and you try to figure out what a master sergeant is, you guys that are in the side chat, if you were ever served, these pay scales just seem off to me. Not so much the money part of it, the base pay, but the monthly pay, that could be here. The hourly pay to me is just way off, because it says $32.59 to $46.48. But here's the thing. When you're active duty, you are on duty 24 hours a day. So that part of the pay scale is way off. But if you're able to serve and you're of age, go see a recruiter. Go get your life on track. Join up, help the military out, and do something good for your country. If not, do whatever you want. So we'll continue on with this. I'm just reading a little bit of the side chat. Boy, that Cybertruck protected all this stuff? No way. Yeah, well, there's more to that. So with that being said, let's jump right here and get back into it.
Are you using your home address for business?
We're going to have a commercial that we got to get through first, so then we're going to jump right through that. And here we go. This is part that's good.
Video earlier today, but this story has
Stuff
gotten
is
so
really
crazy
good,
so fast. And I know what you guys are probably expecting is me to talk about the update from the Sean Ryan podcast with that crazy manifesto in the email. Maybe we'll get to that, but this is even crazier. And I bet you guys have not seen this yet. Just came across my desk. I know from the thumbnail, the title, you guys probably think I'm completely trolling. I swear to God, and we will just show this video right at the start that this is real. Tim Kennedy and Matt Livelsberger.
No, but if you find some, please
on
inform
an
us so we
episode
can
of
find them also.
Inside Edition together as teammates like a decade ago has just surfaced. To add to just the insanity and the weirdness, we have to just jump into it and let's watch.
All right, so I grabbed the video that he grabbed in a little bit of a forum, but I want to look a little bit farther, and I believe what these guys are saying. So let's take a look right now and see where it comes into. Here is more reporting.
It's a reality show. It's elite soldiers from around the
This
world
stuff smells
against
so
each
bad.
other.
Matt and Tim.
Inside Edition is hitting on it. I mean, come on, guys. How many places does it take for people to look in this to realize that we're having smoke and mirror? There's something else going on. They want us to look the other way. But let's take a look at the scapegoat and see what we have. Because there's a little Tim Kennedy, there's some Easter eggs in everything that they tell us. So let's jump in here and
It's a reality show that teams of elite soldiers from around the world against each other.
Matt and Tim. from the U.S. Army Special Forces, better known as the Green Berets.
Matthew Livelsberger and his partner Tim Kelly, both Green Berets, appeared on the Ultimate Soldier Challenge 12 years ago.
You know, for television, they always try to make it a little bit more competitive, but we swept the whole entire show.
When he appeared on the show, Livelsberger used a shortened version of his name, Matt Berg.
Okay, so he did use a shortened version on the show of Matt Berg. He shortened his name up, took out part of it to keep his name out of it, which I don't blame him. He's an active story. And this is an Inside Story, has a story now, yes, and that's what
It
it's
took
playing.
Tim Kelly a while to put two and two together.
And then I saw a Matt Berg with a older photo of him, and I was like, oh no, dude, I know that guy. And then it just like tore my heart out because he was a really great Green Beret.
And what was he? So what I don't understand is he says this, see you later. Thanks for stopping in. And stop back in, hit that like, subscribe, or dislike it and unsubscribe if you don't like it. It doesn't matter either way. Just click a button on your way out. All right. So that being said, I don't believe part of this because he said that he did not know Matt Berg because of his name. But these two operators were in the show together working, and they're close. Operators tend to be pretty tight-knit family. I believe that they would have shared that information, and he would have known what his real name was.
He was charming. He was talented. He was personable. He was kind. He was all the things that you would expect from a Green Beret.
It's a reality show that pits teams of elite soldiers from around the world against each other.
So that was from Inside Edition, and that show was on a few years ago, but that already puts him in the limelight. So he's already been out there in the limelight. He's pretty well known. I mean, makes him pretty star-like, doesn't it? So that just brings us right back to the same old thing. We've spent some time in Hollywood as Green Beret, Bronze Star, decorated. I mean, it all smells the same and leads back to the same thing of John Rambo. But let's not put it all there. Let's keep looking. A lot of stuff does not add up. That is correct, John. Thanks for stopping in. I'm still stuck in my rabbit hole, kind of getting through here, sticking my head up from the air. I got to dump all this stuff and put it out there, and then I'm just going to close the rabbit hole and get out, or at least I know where my bug out bag. I can jump down this hole again if I need to be. So, but without that being said, I have to say we're going to move on because this really does not sound good. So we did through the whole thing of that. Now let's see here. Listen to this part of it. This is part of the same person where they said they lied a little bit, but it's got keywords to the conversation of what I was saying.
Very capable guy, but he loads a Tesla up, which Elon Musk brags about being bulletproof, right? So this is one of his selling points. It's bulletproof. We even saw Joe Rogan shoot an arrow at it and wasn't able to puncture this thing. So he loads up a Tesla knowing it's not explode like he wants it to with fireworks and a bunch of other junk when he can make a car bomb that's going to level this place.
That's exactly it. He failed because of what the car bomb done. He said, yes, like I told you, I do agree with you that he's alive. Thanks for the comment. I really appreciate it. And keep on watching because this gets better. Buffer's going to scream. That's okay. Buffers can scream. I don't mind. So, but this is all the way that it is. Just listen.
Here's what I think. The Army PAO is saying that the body inside the cab did not match the DNA of his child. All right.
Earlier in the show, I said the same thing. The DNA did not match his child. Now, I feel like this is either one of two things. One, they're trying to distract us and made him think that he cracked and went off and did this stuff because he cracked because he figured out what it is his son. But I don't think that. I think what's going to come out later is they put a little Easter egg in here so that when it comes out and finds out it was a wrong body. So that being said, let's see here. Thank you. Yeah, I'm a little salty, but if you want to lick around the brown hole and tell me if it's salty or not, I don't mind. Just stick around and watch the rest of the show, see how it's going. So with all that being said, let's jump right in.
We also know they said he was shot by a desert eagle. We know that there was no signature when it rolled up. So nobody shot themselves when it rolled up to it. You would have seen a large signature. Mr. Guns and Gear, he's on X. He goes into this a lot in depth. He's a firearms expert and he talks about this. And there's no signature. So this is what happens. You get a Tesla because you know it can drive itself to the hotel, the Trump Tower. You put a body in it, roll it up. You don't want to kill anybody because that's not the message you're trying to send. You're not trying to level the tower or kill a bunch of people. So you load it up with fireworks and a bunch of junk to send a message. And we know that his signal number or his signal safety number changed. That can't be done unless you're inside.
That's exactly where my thing is, right there. That's where my theory has come to this whole thing. And as I dug farther after I seen this video and looked at things, I know that they're saying a lot of the things he's saying aren't true, but a lot of it's saying because it matches other news stories. So the pieces and parts match. You got to pick through it all. But here is where it gets better. And now it's going to buffer a little bit.
That signal account. And a lot of people conjecture was the FBI inside his signal account, whatever else. But what if he accidentally changed his safety number, goofed up there? He rolled a body up in a Tesla specifically because a Tesla.
See you later. Thanks for stopping in.
Can drive itself up to the tower and did what he did to send a message to expose his stuff. And he's still alive out there somewhere. Very capable guy, but
that's what I feel. He is still alive out there because when you look at the Tesla, the Cybertruck, besides being extremely ugly, it's very flat-sided. The shape of it resembles, somewhat resembles like a Humvee, something like that. But the explosive, it's not going to explode because the materials it's made out of, it's a very safe design. And we'll get farther into that a little bit farther in the show when we get to that part. But that's just the key parts in here. The biggest thing is the DNA match. I really believe the news put that out there as an Easter egg so that when more news comes out, they can say, well, we weren't really sure when we positively identified him, like the news story says that the sheriff put out, that they positively identified him. Right after the statement says his body was burnt beyond resignation, but they identified him by tattoos on his arms and on his stomach. Now, like I said earlier, I've had a piece of chicken thrown in this oven, forgot about it, and burned it. When that skin burned, it was charred black. You could scrape it off with a knife. Guaranteed, at the temperatures that car was burning for the damage, that it was more than third-degree burns, meaning that it got beyond the epidermis part of the skin, which is where the tattoo lays into. It was into the muscles. If you were to get a tattoo and get tattooed into the muscle, you should hate your tattoo artist. Never go back to him. Now, inside of that car with that temperature of heat, the military ID card that's a piece of paper laminated with plastic over it was still intact. But you see all the remnants around the gun of melted stuff in the pictures that the news released. His passport is available. They identified him from his passport, which is paper, his driver's license, which is a laminated piece of paper, and his credit cards. Now, if you don't believe this, go get your credit card. Go grab a credit card right now and prove me wrong on this theory. Just take a lighter, find a lighter, light the thing, hold your credit card over it for just a few seconds and see how it works out. And just prove me wrong on this theory that I guarantee that any of that pieces that you just tried that with aren't going to work. It's not going to make sense. So if you tried that, I'm sorry, you probably should have believed the whole story in the first place of what happened. If you actually just tried what I said, please forgive me that you thought that would actually work. Because this is for my entertainment. But if you did do that, please video it and send it to me so I can see the stupidity in action. Because it doesn't make sense that anybody would actually do that. But I'm just trying to prove a point that the temperature of the flame aren't there. And I'll get farther into that. I'm just having fun. I'm bored. The football game is done. The Lions beat Minnesota. It was a landslide, but we kind of knew that was going to happen. So I got kind of lost, looked up at the thing, got a little excited with this because it's just such a big rabbit hole that I've been trying to figure this out and everything and jumping around, getting all this stuff done. But so we went through the Tim Kennedy. There it is. So let's look at electric car fire.
People are making fun of these new electric car fire extinguishers. Need to understand something. Electric car fires are an absolute freaking nightmare to put out. The average car fire burns around 1,500 degrees or so. It takes about 1,000 gallons to put out on a bad car fire. Electric car fires are burning upwards of 5,000 degrees. It could take up to 40,000 gallons of water to put out. In fact, some of them had to have been submerged in water for up to...
So I'm not saying that it was an electric vehicle on fire because everybody's going to say, oh, the electric fire part. What I'm saying, I ran that video for two reasons. One, it was an electric vehicle and it did catch on fire. but it gives the temperature a normal car burns at, and it also gives the car temperature that an electric vehicle fire, the lithium-ion battery, if it would have ignited, which why it didn't ignite is still another question that leads down another part of the rabbit hole that I did not travel yet. But if that was to ignite, we would have had a lot more damage, but it didn't happen. Why didn't it ignite when these things are self-igniting? There's videos of these cars self-igniting. This one was caught on fire. This was drawn to draw direction away from something into Trump and Elon Musk. They're working together. It's just so funny that Elon Musk's truck burns up in front of a Trump hotel. But that's just another part of it. So let's jump down the next part of the trail and see where we're at. So I Googled it just to confirm. This is the car, and this is what it looks like. Now, look at that car and how burned up that is. Do you think that there'd be somebody in there that would be identifiable? I mean, I've watched movies and seen people be pulled out of fires in movies that are charred and black. I just don't think being burned without recognition and being tattoos, being identified, are identifiable. I just don't think that's in one statement, and the same thing right from the news and the statement. I don't think that's possible, especially by looking at this car. Now, we know Elon Musk says that they're pretty safe and pretty much bulletproof. Now, I don't believe how bulletproof they are, but what I do know is that the Desert Eagle 50 cal would put off, one, some sound when it's fired. Two, it would also say, "Good night, Nicole. Have a good night." It would also show a flash in a video, which nobody else says anything about. So we're going to keep going on this, and we are still in here, so we're jumping back into it. We got about... So how hot... Typically, an EV, electric vehicle, fire burns at roughly 5,000 degrees, for what we just heard in the last video, which is 2,760 degrees Celsius, with a gasoline-powered vehicle on fire burns at 1,500 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 815 degrees Celsius. So, for point of discussion, we're not going to say it burned at 5,000 degrees because we don't know if the lithium-ion battery ignited or not. They have not said that or not. So, we'll lower it down to the 1,500 degree, 815 Celsius. So, at that temperature, I wouldn't stick my hand in there, and I probably wouldn't pull a white hand back out that wasn't charred badly. It'd probably be very badly charred, skin falling off it. I'm guessing probably in the 3rd degree burn, depending on how long you left it in there. But that being said, I did have a question. The question that I asked the old Google button is, I asked, what temperature does an incinerator run at? 1,200 to 1,600 degrees Celsius, which puts at about half the temperature of an incinerator that they put bodies in to burn. So that burns the bone, burns everything, not just the skin. That burns everything except for like the teeth and anything like that. And just one other thing, quick fact is before they incinerate, they crack the skull with a hammer so that the air can get in so that it can burn the skull. Quick fact. Probably didn't need to know that, but I just figured that out when I was reading things. So that was a different rabbit hole, and I just got stuck in there. But that just proves that he was in a very hot fire irregardless. But so let's go right here to these guys that put out a great show with lots of good information. We're going to jump into here. They got a lot of information. I want to hit on one key point of this video that comes in right at the 1510 point. Here we go. This is from the War Room. This was a very good show, everybody. If you haven't checked out their stuff, they give out good information. It's straightforward. They're straight shooters. A lot of operators in the room here talking about some stuff, and let's listen to what they got to say.
Try to paint it as, this dude was suicidal and another horrible marriage went wrong, and I didn't know what the motive was until I listened to that one a podcast from Sean Ryan, and just to find out, he's been emailing everyone about this shit. Now, as far as his reasoning, him targeting war crimes as the reason why he's trying to shed more.
All right, Robin, thanks for stopping in, bud. I'm just running through some stuff real quick. Appreciate you coming in and catching up a little bit. Have a good night. Be safe. If you're around later and I'm on, I'll check you out or check my show out, see how you can do. We're going to jump right back to it. I appreciate everybody coming in.
Because if you guys think about it, it's pretty fucking strategic, right? It's Trump Tower right in front of the Trump name. It's a Tesla truck, which, you know, since election day, it's been Elon and Donald Trump, right? That's the unorthodox couple. And what better way to get publicity but to park it right there, right? And with all the threats that's been taking place against Donald Trump and all of that, so he knew exactly what he was doing, and he planned this to T. The only question I have now is, whose fucking body is it? Right? Like, because he also mentioned that the FBI or somebody.
You hear that right there? These guys are thinking the same thing. It doesn't smell right. They're like, whose fucking body is it? Because you know what? It doesn't smell like anything that these guys go. So we're going to run a little bit more out of here and listen to just some more of these guys talking about this, because this is the real stuff right here. Like 9 channels, I think, so far that we've looked at, where they're putting something out of this. Everybody can't be wrong.
Was telling
some Las Vegas homeless vagrant's body, dude. He was in Vegas. I mean, like,
yeah,
it's Las Vegas, dude. You think people don't go missing fucking literally every day in Vegas?
Ladies and gentlemen, call on your buddies that's in Vegas and check up on him.
Wait,
if you know anybody in Vegas and you haven't heard from them, start to be worried.
Aaron ain't
See you later, Robin. Tell the wife hi and have a good night.
here.
You doing
Aaron
intro?
ain't here, Jay.
That's true. Aaron's not here.
Aaron's not here. You think he popped Aaron?
Oh shit! No,
No, Aaron's been texting.
And plus, Aaron put that IG post out.
Aaron's in the chat.
Hey, man, let me say something. You say what you want. Unless we see Aaron's face, I mean, this GB changed his signal number after he got fucking supposedly killed in the truck. I'm telling you, man, there's some spooky stuff going on.
I just got a text. Apparently, Matt Tardio's about to drop like some crazy fucking thing nobody knows about in like 30 minutes on X too, related to this. So who knows? It's probably about to get starting even fucking weirder.
Interesting. You know, I got to tell you one thing.
Now
I saw something. Sorry, Jay, real quick. I was flipped on, you know, the news. I rarely ever watch the news. Same thing, Chris. You know, I'm very targeted with it. Just want to see what's going on. I tend to try to read some from publications to get something that's been peer reviewed or, you know, has some rigor, intellectual rigor put to it. But yeah, I saw this one. She was on, like, it was on CNN or somewhere, and she just started going into this, you know, this PTSD.
So this is the part earlier I was talking about. When these guys crack, like I said earlier, they don't hurt other people. They don't hurt their families, other than the fact that it does hurt their families. So if you're a veteran watching this and you've ever thought about becoming one of the 22, reach out to somebody, call one of your buddies, check on a buddy, see how they're doing, because veteran suicide is real and we all suffer, have bad things that happen in our lives, but we don't crack in that way that we're going to hurt a bunch of other people. A lot of veterans will hurt themselves, but they do not hurt their families, loved ones, or anybody else. So with that being said, let's go on to the rest of this part of it.
That narrative. And I'm like, you know what, man? I'm like, this is some bullshit. It's the first thing coming out of my mouth. I know he's under duress, had PTSD. I'm thinking this is the wrong message to send to America, you know. And she was someone who had worked with veterans in the VA or something before. I'm just like, you know, this is the wrong damn message, you know.
That's the other key point of that. They sent the wrong message there, because veteran suicide should never have been brought up in that whole conversation, in that news briefing, because it affects a lot of veterans all across the states. So that being said, and also their families. But so after that part of it, another good one we jump into is one of the guys on the board's channel is the Green Beret Chronicles. The reason why we jumped into this one is because we wanted to see something find out a little bit more about Matt's service is why I did this. So he goes through the different battalions, and we know he was in Fort Carson from the news and everything everybody put out. that he was in Fort Carson and he was on the 10th Special Forces. So this is what you can find out on the web, what the 10th Special Forces is. Let's hit the play button. And here we go with it. Let's find out a little bit about the 10th Special Forces
Group. All right, guys, 10th Special Forces Group, they are stationed out of Fort Carson, Colorado, and they are responsible for UCOM, right? So it's not uncommon for those dudes to deploy to, Sweden and some of those other places and just hit the slopes and just have a good old time while they're training their UCOM partners. Now, the stereotype and the stigma that follows 10th Special Forces Group is that they don't have a lot of combat times, right? It's not uncommon to be a SWIC, to have a 10th Special Forces guy rotate in and he doesn't have a combat patch. And I'm like, dude, what is going on? You and I went through the Q course together like 10 years ago. Like, you haven't deployed? Nah, man, I've just been in UCOM, living my best life. So that's not uncommon, right? So that's the stereotype and the stigma that follows those dudes over the 10th Special Forces Group over at Fort Carson, Colorado. If I've missed any of the stereotypes or any of the stigmas for any of the groups, please.
So the stuff the Green Beret Chronicle puts out, there's no need to fact check if this guy was a Green Beret. He puts it out in the videos. The stuff he does is real. He's got a lot of good videos. If you have never checked his stuff out, go check his stuff out. I just did that because I wanted to put the 10th Special Forces out there. So we went a little bit farther into the stuff. We showed you in the beginning what the Green Beret were because somebody asked. They'd been living underneath a rock. But all that being said, unconventional warfare, the way that it's defined on Wiki, which I forgot to pay Wiki. They always need some money. I should have gave them some money, but I forgot. Anyways, unconventional warfare consists of activities conducted to enable resistance, movement of insurgency, to coerce, disrupt, or overthrow an occupying power or government by operating through or with an underground auxiliary or guerrilla force in a denied area. So what did he do? He exposed the government and the occupying power of our government on some war crimes, allegedly. I say allegedly because we don't even really know what happened. We just know what we're told. And this story is so whack that who knows who to believe anymore. And we're going to roll a quick proof of the tape on understanding the Army's approach to unconventional warfare, so you that don't understand a little bit, like myself, can learn a little bit more.
Understanding the U.S. Army's approach to unconventional warfare.
Quick break here. If the two SEALs that were in the room earlier talking, if you could please jump back in and tell us anything better about unconventional warfare that you could tell us in this scenario, it would be greatly appreciated in the chat.
A guide for success. The United States Army is one of the most prominent military forces in the world. Known for their strategic planning and successful execution, the U.S. Army has built a reputation of winning wars and conflicts through their training, equipment, and technology. However, not all battles can be won through traditional means. In situations where conventional methods fail, the U.S. Army employs a unique approach: unconventional warfare. Unconventional warfare is a tactic used when conventional military methods are insufficient or not applicable. It relies on the utilization of small units and guerrilla tactics to achieve strategic objectives. The U.S. Army has been practicing and refining this approach for decades, and it has been successful in a variety of conflicts, including the Vietnam War and the Iraq War. The key to understanding the U.S. Army's approach to unconventional warfare is to realize that it is not just a military tactic, but it also relies heavily on the understanding of the cultural, social, and economic landscapes of the target area.
Social, economic landscapes of the area. Okay, social. Las Vegas is a huge social focal point. Economic, I mean, there's a lot of money there. He's in front of Trump. He's super proud to have a Cybertruck. So.
The U.S. Army focuses on three main pillars when implementing unconventional warfare: political, military, and economic.
Political, military, and economics. Tell me, Trump, Las Vegas is your economic. Trump is the presidential. Politics, it's all right there.
The political pillar is about understanding the role of the target area's government and the political ideologies that may be at play. It involves the development of relationships with local politicians, community leaders, and influential individuals. Through these relationships, the U.S. Army can establish a base of trusted allies who can provide information and support.
These guys aren't dumb. They get a lot of training. They're not just going to jump right in without figuring this out. I mean, he did some research, but he did not succeed, or did he succeed in what he was trying to do, or was it even him? There's way too many questions. But Elon Musk said that, tried to debunk one of the theories was that the vehicle needs a coherent person behind the wheel in order to operate on its own. So that being said, the problem is some of Matt's training is in the RAS. What is RAS? RAS is a remote operated vehicles that maneuvers remotely. So this guy is trained in remote operated things, vehicles, all this stuff, and he knows how to do it. He's got the capability. He's been training it. He operates it, drones, remote operated vehicles. All this stuff is stuff that he knows what he's doing. I read through the whole DOD forum that I found on this, and this is stuff that they don't even let us really know that's out there, but it's there. So some of the other stuff he talks about, are they just not letting us know? Or is it smoke and mirrors? I mean, what do we really not know about what's going on? And what should we know? What direction should we be looking? Are they trying to make us look to the left when we should be looking right? I mean, there's so much going on. Which brings me to another part of the rabbit hole, but that's for later on in the show. But so next one, you say, well, what do you think he lived? How would he escape something like that? That brings us to this part of it. Part of their training is this. SEER school. What is SEER school, you ask?
Did you get your new vehicle?
We have a video. We have a video on what it is that shows a little bit about it. Let's take a look. Let's skip the ad and let's get into it. Here we go. What is SEER?
SEER, which stands for Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape, is a U.S. military training program. It teaches survival skills.
Okay, SEER teaches survival skills, how to evade capture, escape techniques. I mean, tell me, Las Vegas, escape techniques. I think there's been this before in Las Vegas. I think there's been somebody that's performed some pretty high task escape tactics out of Las Vegas. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that there's pieces of this puzzle that just aren't there. But let's continue on and find out a little bit more about SEER.
How to evade capture, escape techniques, and the application of the military code of conduct. The Air Force originally created the program after World War II for personnel at high risk of capture.
High risk of capture. Let's see. What would you think a high risk of capture person would be? Do you think it'd be a special operator that they're going to spend a lot of money and send behind the lines to do some recon, figure out some stuff? Do you think they may be wanting to go to SEER? Let's find out.
During the Vietnam War, SEER training was extended to the other branches as well. Today, there are multiple levels of SEER training. Level C is the most advanced level and trains special operators in air.
Wow. Level C is the most advanced level and trains special operators and air crew.
As well as personnel most at risk of capture and exploitation because of their job or rank. Level C training is highly secretive, and only those who have gone through it know the details. This level puts trainees through an intense 21-day...
Hey, Motorbomb, thanks for stopping into my late night rabbit hole that I've been stuck in. Pop my head out for air. I'm going to dump all this stuff one more time, and I'm going to leave this rabbit hole alone. I've been occupied in the space too much. I want to get back to my normal live at 5 because I am outside of my wheel horse doing this only for entertainment, to stick around and see who is interested. But thanks for stopping in, checking it out, and here we go with a little bit more SEER.
Course of classroom and field instruction on SEER skills. Trainees survive in the field while being hunted by an enemy force they must evade until they are ultimately captured. After capture, trainees are detained in a mock prison, where their ability to resist interrogation and exploitation is tested. The trainees are worn down mentally and physically throughout the training, which is designed to mimic real-life situations. Level B trains service members whose jobs create a high risk of capture.
So I really just, personally, my own opinion is, I believe he grabbed a body, put it in there, remotely drove the vehicle in front. Body was already shot, dead, inside. And then he remotely detonated it. But the other thing is special operators, I believe, would be very well trained in detonating explosives and things like that. I just think that he could have more successfully done the job that he was trying to do in more than one way. So I don't think that it's 100% being told on what was done. These guys are the quiet professionals. He made a bunch of noise, did things like that. So with that, I'm going to end this first round of the whole thing with, let's listen to what their creed is for the Special Forces.
Who am I? I am a champion. I will conquer what has not been conquered. Defeat will not be in my creed.
Defeat is not in the creed.
I will believe us devil. I will go to devil on Steve on respect of my team. I train my mind and my body will fall. Who am I? I am a champion. I will acknowledge the fact that my opponent do not expect me to win. But I will never surrender. Weakness will not be in my heart. I will look to my comrades and to those who are watching the world and those who are training me, and I will draw strength from them. Who am I? I am a champion. I will practice, go out to the field of battle, and I will move in everything I can do. And I will reach my field of battle at any means at my disposal. And when I get there, I will rise violently. I will rip the heart from my enemy and leave it bleeding on the ground, because he cannot stop me. Who am I? I am a champion. To my side, I have comrades. Comrades that have been through me from thick and thin, who sacrificed the blood and sweat and tears. Never will I let them fall. Never will I let them down. And I will never leave an enemy behind. Because our opponent does not know my heart. Who am I? I am a champion. No one will deny me. No one will define me. And no one will tell me who and what I am and can be. Belief will change my world. It is through continent, it is through country, it is put man on the moon. And it will carry me through this battle. Who am I? I am a champion. Defeat, retreat, those are not in my words. I don't understand those definitions. I don't understand when things go wrong. I don't understand mistakes. But I do understand this. I understand victory, and I understand never surrendering. No matter how bad things go, my heart, my mind will carry my body and my living through me. Who am I? I am a champion. Today will be that day. Not tomorrow, not next week, but right now, right here, in your house, in your home. Who am I? I am a champion. History will remember me.
History will remember me. I do believe that Matt will be remembered. I strongly disagree with a lot of this thing in the story, like I've said multiple times, and everybody's kind of stepping out in the chat. Motobomb, I see you to stop in. So it's been going for quite some time. We've reached that 2 hour and 43-minute mark. There's only 2 people in. I'm gonna let it run for a couple more minutes, and I'm probably gonna jump out in the live, in the rabbit hole on this part of it, continue on to my normal stuff, because I have learned that it's going on. Exactly that. Travis, thanks for stopping in and comment. You kind of caught me right towards the end, but I was just kind of debating on where I wanted to go with that when you came in and commented. So in the very part of the beginning, there's a lot of stuff I went over and the stuff that I've dug out, and there's more than just that. What you're saying there, that doesn't smell right. But some of the video, in fact, I can touch back on that if you want to hang out just for a second. Give me a second and I'll run back to that. Let's see. Give me a second. I just got to find that part of the show real quick and I'll show it to you again. All right, I think it was here. No. Right here.
Very capable guy. He loads the Tesla up, which Elon Musk brags about being bulletproof, right? So this is one of his selling points. It's bulletproof. We even saw Joe Rogan shoot an arrow at it and wasn't able to puncture this thing. So he loads up a Tesla knowing it's not explode like he wants it to with fireworks and a bunch of other junk when he can make a car bomb that's going to level this place. Here's what I think. The Army PAO is saying that the body inside the cab did not match the DNA of his child. All right. We also know they said he was shot by a desert eagle. We know that there was no signature when it rolled up. So nobody shot themselves when it rolled up to it. You'd have seen a large signature. Mr. Guns and Gear, he's on X. He goes into this a lot in depth. He's a firearms expert and he talks about this. There's no signature. So this is what happens. You get a Tesla because you know it can drive itself to the hotel, the Trump Tower. You put a body in it, roll it up. You don't want to kill anybody because that's not the message you're trying to send. You're not trying to level the tower or kill a bunch of people.
So see, that covers that whole thing too. You're not the only one thinking that. I definitely think he is. I think they're putting an Easter egg out there, Travis, that the Easter egg being that they've made sure to put that out that he DNA didn't match his kid. So they're trying to do two things with that. I believe it's a CYOA, cover your own ass, because that way they put it out there, the DNA didn't match it, hoping it sticks to the wall. Do as much shit at the wall in this story as they can and see what all sticks. That whole DNA thing's not sticking because, first off, there wasn't enough time for the DNA check when it came out saying that he was positively identified, which I have part of that in this video too, is where they positively identified his body when it was burnt beyond recognition. They positively identified it by tattoos. These tattoos would have been badly charred off his body at a third-degree burn. As a tattoo artist, if your tattoo artist went farther than the epidural part of the skin into the muscle part, which is where a third-degree burn would be, you would greatly hate your tattoo artist. Like why does he pull through there? So, yes, Elon Musk is trying to defend this with the fact that the truck is not drivable without a coherent driver behind the wheel. Now, I did a little bit of checking on that because, well, Elon Musk is trying to clear his name on that whole thing. This whole thing's funny. Just there's too much stuff. Elon Musk, Trump, they're working together. It just happens that a cyber truck from Elon Musk is in front of the Trump Hotel when this happens. Just some funny stuff. But, so, I went through the whole Special Forces, 10th Special Forces earlier. If you got questions on it, anybody has any questions, throw them out there. I'll jump back through stuff. We've been going at this for a while. People jump back in and out. So I kind of hop through different parts of the show everything. This sounds so funny to me, though, and I'm glad Travis is still in here with 6 other people because while I'm thinking about this, he was highly decorated, had a Bronze Star. He was a Green Beret. This all sounded super familiar when they're trying to blame him for this. And all this being said, you know why it sounded familiar? What other Green Beret had some Bronze Stars, was decorated, came back stateside, and got tied up, and they tried to railroad him? Oh, wait, that's John Rambo. That was a Hollywood movie. I'm sorry. But the story sounds too familiar to me. So if you're too young for First Blood, go back and look at the whole thing. You'll get the reference there. But besides that, let's look back at this self-driving vehicle. Here it is, right here. Part of Matt's training was in, let's see, where's that file at? Come on, file. All right, here it is. right from the slides from DOD on a little bit of Matt's training on what he did in the 10th Special Forces and on conventional warfare. We're waiting for it to load. While we wait, we're going to hit the little reload button. Let's see what's going on. Roll that slide. U.S. Army strategy for robotic and autonomous systems. What is that, you ask? Well, it's drones. Besides being drones, what else is this? What else, you ask? Well, robotics research started 14 years of war. And what all can they do? Well, they can do a lot. They also can remote operate vehicles. This guy is trained in how to remote operate vehicles. So why wouldn't he get something that's already got the software and all the hardware in it that he's just got to make it work? He knows how to make it work. He's working with stuff. He's training other people to work on it. So he has now used his military training to get a vehicle, move it to where it needs to be at, and he can drive it himself. So yes, he had the training to be able to do that. Let's see what Travis has got to say here. Travis, it's all a cover-up. The truck can drive itself. Yes, that is correct. That truck can drive itself, and he's able to do it. So I do believe it's 100% a cover-up. I think he's either, I think he's somewhere beyond, because like I said earlier, he went through some training that would help him do that kind of stuff. I mean, it's a smoke and mirrors thing. It's Las Vegas. I mean, it's not the first time we've seen some magic tricks come out of Las Vegas where people have just disappeared or showed up in other places afterwards. So there have been some famous magicians done the same kind of thing in Las Vegas. What better place to put a show like this on? And we're all watching. Just what are we watching for? I mean, military involvement. Last time military involvement came out hiding stuff weeks later after everybody else was wondering if people were dead or alive while they were searching for them. It was Ocean Gate, where they already knew it blew up a week ahead of time before they released it. Maybe they're trying to gonna wait a week after this explosion to tell us, oh, his body suddenly turned up. We had the wrong body. It wasn't really him. It was somebody that stole his identification, maybe. Maybe that's going to come out. But the whole thing is why did the identification not burn up in that fire? If somebody, it was not in here earlier when I gave you a prime example, they said he found his military ID, which is like a driver's license, a piece of paper, laminated, his passport. If you're not believing this and you're not tracking what I'm saying, they found some plastic credit cards. What I need for you to do is, if you have a lighter, get your lighter, light the lighter, take your credit card, the one you use the most, hold it over that lighter for a few seconds, and see what happens. I guarantee you that if you just did that, you're going to figure out that you made a mistake and you probably shouldn't have listened to me, because what of the stuff I'm saying is for entertainment purposes, but I just proved a point that you're not going to melt your credit card over a lighter. Now, all that stuff being said, do you really think that all that stuff did not burn up in the fire? I mean, let's take a look at this truck. There's pictures all over the place of how melted this truck is, and it just does not make sense. So this car looks horrible in this fire. Look at this. And they're going to tell me that they found some identification on him? I mean, what was he wearing? A fireproof clothing? It doesn't add up. So definitely thanks for coming in, popping questions. I appreciate it. And I like the fact that people are putting stuff in. The saddest part is that 90% of the world is so blind on this kind of thing, it's scared to let that sink in. That is correct. But now, what's even scarier, if you're interested in sticking around, I'll stick around and show you some more stuff that I dug up, because this rabbit hole has had me stuck in it for a couple of days. This is outside of my wheelhorse. I'm not an operator or anything like this. I smelt something sunny, and I wanted to share some stuff, and I wanted to look into it, and I was trying to fact check some stuff because there were so many people reporting on it. But the biggest thing I found on my own when I was doing this is, I got to figure out which one of these stories it is real quick, is the fact that, here it is, I think it's this one, yes.
New details emerge
from Fox News. Fox News is reporting ex-Green Beret, which I've already corrected this 3 or 4 different times, but I'm going to do it one more time. He's not an ex-Green Beret. He was on active duty on authorized leave, which still makes him an active Green Beret. He is now a allegedly deceased Green Beret, but he is not at this time an ex-Green Beret. He would be allegedly deceased, but not ex. So that part of the report is wrong. But the part that gets it is the kicker at the end. Who knew Las Vegas suspect? They're asking if anybody knew him, but none of this checks out. Fox News, not a real reputable news source. I don't like news channels. I watch different podcasts, things like that. And then I research my news. But I don't really like Fox News. But they don't even think it checks out. But they're not the only ones. That's what the kicker comes in, is this just gets better. The plot thickens continuously on this. Let's see. You seem like you're a little bit interested, Travis, so I want to share some more so you ain't got to go through all this rewatching. If I start boring you, throw some questions out there. I'll try to answer them as best as I can with the research I did. But here is what's killing me, is right here is... Here we go. I'm going to run this part right here. Here we go.
All right, welcome back, guys. I know that we just put out a video earlier today, but this story has gotten so crazy so fast. And I know
It's
what
from
you
an
guys are
operator from
probably
the Valhalla
expecting is
channel
me to
this
talk
time puts out
about
some good stuff.
the update from the Sean Ryan podcast with that crazy manifesto in the email. Maybe we'll get to that, but this is even crazier, and I bet you guys have not seen this yet. Just came across my desk. I know from the thumbnail, the title, you guys probably think I'm completely trolling. I swear to God, and we'll just show this video right at the start that this is real. Tim Kennedy and Matt Livelsberger on an episode of Inside Edition together as teammates like a decade ago has just surfaced.
And here it is, right from Inside Edition.
Reality show that pits teams of elite soldiers from around the world against each other.
Matt and Tim.
I mean, Inside Edition is even in on this. This is just the plot is sticking too much. I mean, it's just there, but I mean, I'm gonna roll a little short clip that I found on this whole thing because this makes it even a little bit thicker plot. So Tim Kennedy, let's see here.
It's a reality show that pits teams of elite soldiers from around the world against each other.
Matt and Tim. From the U.S. Army Special Forces, better known as the Green Berets.
Matthew Livelsberger and his partner Tim Kelly, both Green Berets, appeared on the Ultimate Soldier Challenge 12 years ago.
You know, for television, they always try to make it a little bit more competitive, but we swept the whole entire show.
When he appeared on the show, Livelsberger used a shortened version of his name, Matt Bird.
I mean, okay, so he shortened his name up, Matt Berg, a little bit. I can understand that because he's an active operator doing a television show, not what, you know, we know there's operators out there that are highly known and things like that, but not wanting to let that stuff all out of the bag. He comes out there and does that show. But the part that kicks me, the kicker on this is right here on this part of the video. And
show that
I can't fast forward now that I did that. Sorry, guys, you got to
soldiers
listen.
From around the world against each other.
Matt and Tim. From the U.S. Army Special Forces, better known as the Green Berets.
Matthew Livelsberger and his partner Tim Kelly, both Green Berets, appeared on the Ultimate Soldier Challenge 12 years ago.
You know, for television, they always try to make it a little bit more competitive, but we swept the whole entire show.
When he appeared on the show, Livelsberger used a shortened version of his name, Matt Bird. So it took Tim Kelly a while to put two and two together.
And then I saw a Matt Berg with a older photo of him, and I was like, oh no, dude, I know that guy. And then it just like tore my heart out because he was a really great Green Beret.
And what was he like?
He was charming. He was talented. He was personable. He was kind. He was all the things that you would expect from a Green Beret.
It's a reality show that pits teams of elite soldiers from around the world against each other.
Matt and Tim. From the U.S. Army Special Forces, better known as the Green Berets.
Matthew Livelsberger and his partner Tim Kelly, both Green Berets, appeared on the Ultimate Soldier Challenge 12 years ago.
You know, for television, they always try to make it a little bit more competitive, but we swept the whole entire show.
When he appeared on the show, Livelsberger used a shortened version of his name, Matt Berg, so it took Tim Kelly a while to put 2 and 2 together.
And then I saw a Matt Berg with a older photo of him, and I was like, oh no, dude, I know that guy. And then it just like tore my heart out because he was a really great Green Beret.
And what was he like?
He was charming. He was talented. He was personable. He was kind. He was all the things that you would expect from a Green Beret.
It's a reality show that pits teams of elite soldiers from around the world against each other.
Matt and Tim.
Sorry about that, Travis. Yes, I see your things. I had a phone call in there, but I do see your messages. They got Sean. That's why he said he was going into hiding the other day. And not tonight. His story is matching with the FBI. It's all being a cover up. So here's the thing. I don't know that Sean went into hiding for that reason. Everybody knows he was a Navy SEAL. If he went into hiding for a reason like that particular part of it, I think we all better grab our freaking heels and grab our bug out bags and go jump down a rabbit hole and find somewhere to hide. Because if these guys are hiding because of what's coming out, we're all in trouble. And we don't have the capabilities that a lot of these guys have to survive in that. So if these guys are running and hiding, which isn't in their blood to hide, we got a lot of trouble. So do I believe that he stepped away for a little bit? Maybe it was a planned vacation or something. But he's had very controversial stuff, other stuff on the show, not so much as bad as this. I mean, he's got a cease and desist from Canada. So I don't think he ran and hid because of that. But that's just my own opinion on that. I think that's where it's at there. But so with that whole thing, it's just weird. But part of the thing of that is I think that Tim Kennedy is hiding a little bit of the fact that trying to clear his own name, knowing this guy, trying to distance himself away from it, because he says, well, until I seen the newer picture of him, I didn't really recognize him. But because he's going off the fact that it was Matt Berg is his name. Now, these operators can be a little close. I mean, there's a lot of them. So it's like somebody asking you because you live in a town if you know somebody. But these guys were on a TV show together. They're operators, had a lot in common. So I'm going to bet that they talked. They might even been to the bar, had a few drinks during the time of the show or after the show. And it probably came out what their real names were. One, they probably not asked another operator about this guy, and they probably fact-checked a few things back and forth a little bit about each other because that's just kind of the way that thing goes. So he just tried to distance himself a little bit away from knowing the guy and not wanting to look bad. In my own theory of that, like I said before, people can fact check this stuff. Some of the stuff can be wrong. I found it from other people's videos and research online. I do it for my entertainment purposes. I fell down a rabbit hole and I'm trying to dig myself out. You guys are all in that rabbit hole with me. Feel like the Mad Hatter, and people asking questions is helping out. It's a lot of fun hanging out with you guys. Checking out the chat. I appreciate all the views.
It's a reality show.
I don't have a whole lot more on it. There's 6 people in here. This rabbit hole keeps going. I mean, there's just so much on it that I just can't figure out. This is a video. I'll share it real quick. This is a video the clip that really, really stuck me down the rabbit hole.
Very capable guy. He was the Tesla, which Elon Musk brags about being bulletproof, right? So this is one of his selling points. It's bulletproof. We even saw Joe Rogan shoot an arrow at it.
That's that part of the clip. That was the wrong one. I already shared that just recently with you guys. But the clip that I'm talking about comes in right here, which I shared earlier. I don't know if Travis has seen this one yet because he'd asked some questions. Let's talk about the car bomb a little bit with some other operators channels that I found. These guys seem very informative, really have good credentials, and seem to really know what's going on. Let's roll it back to about the 1510 mark. This is from the War Room. If you want to check out more of the video, there's a lot more on it. But let's roll it here and see what we got. Oops, I forgot to hit the pause. And let's listen to a little bit of what they got going on. Start it right here. Bam. I muted.
Suicidal in another.
All right, we're going to start at the 1510. Close.
Try to paint it as, this dude is suicidal and another horrible marriage went wrong. And I didn't know what the motive was until I listened to that one a podcast from Sean Ryan, and just to find out, he's been emailing everyone about this shit. Now, as far as his reasoning, him targeting war crime as the reason why he's trying to shed more. Because if you guys think about it, it's pretty fucking strategic, right? It's Trump Tower right in front of the Trump name. It's a Tesla truck, which, since election day, it's been Elon and Donald Trump, right? That's the unorthodox couple. And what better way to get publicity but to park it right there, right? And with all the threats that's been taking place against Donald Trump and all of that. So he knew exactly what he was doing, and he planned this to the T.
So we can grab another clip of this. Let's grab a little bit farther in.
Knows or doesn't. Talk really quickly. AI is so powerful in the exploit, analyze, and disseminate part. It is in the other ones too, the F3 part as well. But especially in the finding, the exploiting, the analyzing, disseminating. So when an event is triggered like this, they're going to have some powerful ass shit that's coming down with geointelligence, okay? Signals intelligence, all powered by AI, okay? Looking at documents, document processing back in our day, right? It takes a lot damn longer. This stuff is happening fast. They're going to run this to ground really fast and figure it out. And personally, for me, the only way you're going to stay ahead of this is if you have the same level of countermeasures.
Travis, if you're still in here, let's go back to one thing on the self-driving vehicle that I thought of earlier that I touched on. Elon Musk saying that he couldn't drive, that it could be drove without a coherent person behind the wheel. Follow me along on this one just a little bit. So, in order for that to take place, there is cameras inside of that vehicle that would look back at the driver to see if it's coherent or not. So we know that there's a driver-facing camera somewhere inside that dash of that vehicle. So it can look at the driver and see what's going on. Why aren't we looking at this video footage yet, or why aren't they releasing what they found in that? Because they don't want us to know about it? Or are they going to say it was damaged, but they were able to find a smartwatch and recover his smartwatch? That being said, if his smartwatch was there, that should give us a little bit of health recovery, because a lot of them smartwatches, they tell heart rates and things like that. So there is a lot of stuff going on that doesn't line up. And I am not a conspiracy theorist, but when it smells like a skunk, it's a skunk. If it looks like a rat, it's a rat. And this just doesn't, there's too much stuff that doesn't line up. And there's too many different people out there. There's too many different podcasts on. There's constantly something going on this. I went down the rabbit hole. Like I said, it's outside of my wheelhouse. I'm not big into this kind of news thing. I do a live at 5 on some small channel spotlights, just do a little small quick podcast. This one's one of my longer ones for about 3 hours, just throwing it out there, seeing what's there, seeing who's hanging out, seeing what's watching. Anybody with any kind of thought on it, it's just not making sense. And all these people, everybody can't be wrong. All these operators, all these guys that are special forces that are digging into this and looking at it, all these news sources, everybody looking in here, I'm just telling you that this many people looking at the same thing, they're what does that say? That's that other saying? It's a wolf in sheep's clothing. They're trying to pull the wool over our eyes and make us look the other direction, distract us. I feel that way. I felt that way during Ocean Gate. I jumped out a lot of those lives. It was in the services, and I just think you got to have exactly. you got to have some common sense. And if you don't have common sense in this stuff and you don't do a little bit of research and you follow the mainstream news, that's what they want us to do. They want us to do it. And, we got the presidential election is taking place. All this stuff things are getting ready to change on the 20th. I don't think everything's going to happen fast, and I look at it too, and people look at it different ways, but, we had to pick the lesser of two evils. I personally not saying that Trump was best for the job. I'm not a big political person. I don't get into that stuff, but we picked the lesser of the two evils. Are we paying for it already before it comes into place? That's going to be something. Yes, YouTube is blocking some of my message I'm sending you. I do not doubt that one bit. But that's all right. I'm following along and figuring you're still in here. And I definitely believe that YouTube is blocking some stuff. And that I don't know. But definitely appreciate you stopping in and following along with the show. There's just, like I've said over and over, there's just too much that doesn't match up, and it's just too hard to think why it's like this. Two big factors in there is just the fact that we've got I go to the other page and I can see quite a few of your pages. So it's just crazy that the fact that these so many people are watching this stuff and everything and not and believing what's going on just by what they're doing and going from there. So if you're not doing a little bit of research and you're following the news, that's exactly where they want you to be at. Let that sink in a little bit that the news isn't telling you the truth. And if you're believing the politicians are telling you the truth or the sheriffs that are reporting it or the military, if you believe that the military people that speaking to you on this stuff are telling you the truth, they're there for that reason. The people that are in human relations that speak to the press and give those press releases, they're trained to speak in operations like that. And their psychological warfare, they're trained in all that stuff. And if you think that they're not going to use their skills to get things by you, then you need to wake up and follow the money trail. And I've been talking about that too. And this whole thing is everybody's happy. We're going to start drilling oil here. The fearful part of drilling the oil is once you get the oil out of the ground, you have to be able to sell it. People that were buying the oil from now own the gas stations. They own a lot of the transport companies. They own a lot of the refinery companies. So do you think they're going to buy oil from us when they're already double and triple dipping on the oil that they're sending us and selling us? So there's going to be a learning curve on that. When we get the oil out of the ground, we got to be able to use it for something. I mean, just getting out of the ground sold me half the battle. So I think it's a slow process there. And I'm thinking that things can get real haywire before they get better. I don't have a whole lot more. I'm just sitting here and nobody's asking any questions. I've been through it a couple of times, and that is exactly it. That tells you right there when they're blocking the things. Yes, we the people are the ones that get their paychecks. But their other thing is they are trying to move to cashless payments. How many places have you gone that they don't want cash? And our dollars, they don't want to take cash. They want credit cards. You go to a lot of venues, they no longer take cash. Is that because they don't trust their employees or they don't trust the government? Their employees took cash for a long time. Now you got a lot of venues, arenas and things where there's a lot of people. They don't take cash. They're all paperless. They want to use your card, which doesn't necessarily make sense because besides costing you money to swipe your card, the card also costs money for the business to pay on that. Joe Mama coming back in, unless she was hiding in the bot. Nice to see you back. Coming back in. It's been a while since they commented. They were either hanging out there lurking in the shadows or they just suddenly drop back in. So I usually have some lurkers, and I don't mind having the lurkers. I did have earlier a couple seals dropped in, gave a seal of approval, saying they claiming that they were seals, and I felt honored to be in the presence of some seals, and there's so many of them that it's glad that they were able to take time and come out of the water and flap their flappers together, give me a seal of approval on my show, tells me I'm doing something right if I'm getting the people in here watching it and want to comment the Navy SEAL thing on there. They're very top secret. They wouldn't share a lot of information. I tried to get it out of them, but they didn't want to share a lot of it. They just dropped in enough to say, give that seal approval, said they were Navy SEALs. I know those Navy SEAL guys, they got to have top secret stuff. They can't share it with us. But there's 8 people in, 2 more people have joined and lurking in the shadows. Wondering if anybody's got any more comments. Travis has been commenting. Appreciate the comments. If you're lurking and watching, hit that subscribe, hit that like or dislike. Do whichever you like and let us know what you think. Just make sure you hit some kind of button, rub it with your shoulder, hit it with your elbow, lick it, do whatever you want. Just make sure and give it a little love on one of them buttons. They made it so Joe was elected the puppet. That is correct. If you think the president makes the decisions, you are wrong. Joe Biden has failed America. Or has America failed? Or is America failing is another question. That's a tough one. And I'm proud of being American. A lot of people are. But when you have your government pulling the shades down, not telling you the truth, hiding things from you, putting it in plain sight, to the point where these people like over and over again. Good night. Have a good night. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate everybody that's coming. Everybody that's hanging out in the side chat. I've been going at this for a couple hours. Ran a little bit of a restream, jumped back onto it, and there were still people watching. So, hey, 8 people, that's not a lot, but it's enough to stick around and answer what I can. With that being said, let's roll a video back to the beginning. And if you come up with questions, hang out, chill out, see what's going on. But let's roll it back to the start of this and see where my rabbit hole started out. And I will be here commenting with you guys. And here it goes. We're going to roll that video.
Sean Ryan and this Shoemate are lying to you. This guy, Sam Shoemate, runs this conspiracy theory account called Terminal CWO. I actually caught him last year spreading fake emails that claimed U.S. pilots weren't getting enough flight hours because all the money was being sent to Ukraine. He's your typical garden variety conspiracy theorist. He was kicked out of the Army because he didn't want to take the COVID vaccine, and I can kind of understand that, but
So, kicked out for not taking the COVID vaccine. Doesn't make him a liar. Doesn't make him a conspiracist. Who's not a conspiracist on this whole thing? I do agree with Ryan McBeth's statements, though, and I did a little bit of fact-checking on him, but we're going to finish rolling his tape, check his channel out. He's got some good stuff out there, and like he says, he definitely gets some stuff, makes you ask some questions on who you believe. American, hold on, before we do that, let's look at Travis's comment. American has failed Americans. We have to retake control of our amazing country. That is 100% correct. We have people out there telling us to do it, trying to pull the wool off from our eyes, and it's just I think the problem is we're too afraid to see what's in front of our face, and I really think that's what it's become down to, is that we're just too afraid to see what's right there. Now,
Dude, don't go around spreading conspiracy theories because you have an axe to grind. So now this guy has a new fake email. And Sean Ryan let him on his show to talk about how the Cybertruck bomber is actually still alive and he knows gravitic propulsion systems are actually being used by China in drones on the East Coast. This guy is wackadoodle, and Sean Ryan let him just talk.
so, hey, and Annie, the knitter, back. Nice to see you back in, Ann. Thanks for stopping back. Glad to have you join us again. A lot of this is a replay, re-talk about stuff, and just kind of some babble in between, but it's all for my own pleasure. While you're back in, if you didn't hit that like button before, hit that like or dislike it now. Just rub one of those buttons, subscribe. I don't care, unsubscribe. Just whatever button you hit, make sure you hit it 3 times. Or any other odd number if you want to sit there and play with it and count it. Just keep rubbing it and see what happens. The more you play with it, the happier it gets. So with that being said, let's continue down the rabbit hole, back to the part. Our government has made everyone pussies. That is a factual statement. It is very true. So it's that's true in a lot of ways. That's true in the fact. The other fact is the government has de-weaponized its own military, and personnel numbers are down bad enough to be to the fact that we may not even be able to defend ourselves. And let alone, one of the other things that people are, what about Okinawa, Japan, the big military base pulling all the troops out of there? That was in the news a little flash. Why would we be moving troops out of there? Do we need them here? Do they know something that's going on that they're not telling us? And we've lost 3 viewers on the rewatch, but that's okay. We have the ones that are here sticking around and watching what we're doing. So I appreciate all the viewers that are in here. We're hitting that 3 hour and 21 minute mark, and my babbling has gone on for quite some time. But people are listening, which is the point of this, is to get people out, get people listening, and figure out what we can find. So I've hung out for 3 hours, 21 minutes, 38, 39, 40 seconds. So that being said, I don't have anything else. The comments aren't rolling, so I'll stick around a little bit. Somebody wants to throw something out there, send me down another rabbit hole, ask a question, jump back in this rabbit hole. We'll see what we can do. But that all being said, we're going to roll a video, hang out for a little bit, see what happens with the numbers. Which part of these videos of the roll down do we want to do? Let's go back and see for those people jumping in. And for the few SEALs that stopped in earlier, let's let them learn a little bit about the Green Berets. That sounds good to me. Let's roll this part of the video.
Welcome to a glimpse of the United States Army Special Forces, the Green Berets. As an elite special operations force, they're specialists in unconventional warfare, foreign internal defense, direct action, counterterrorism, and special reconnaissance. Born during the chill of the Cold War, the Green Berets were established as an answer to the world's growing need for specialized warfare capabilities. The Green Berets, always ready to step into the breach, always prepared to face the unknown. Stay curious, stay informed. Welcome to a glimpse of the United States Army Special.
Well, that was a glimpse of the Green Berets. American Uncensored, thanks for stopping in. You're late into the show by about 3 hours and 20 minutes, but we appreciate you stopping in. And what we went over is the whole shit show in Las Vegas and why I don't believe what's going on and why I think there's something else going on that's a discrepancy. And I do 100% believe that he is alive. And I will roll that tape, show you what sent me down this rabbit hole. We all watch YouTube. We get stuck on YouTube shorts or watching videos. Obviously, I watched the Sean Ryan thing, and then the whole lie conspiracy came out. But I just thought about a lot of stuff. John Wayne, the original Green Beret from the Green Berets movie, that is correct. But this all leads me to the fact that too much of this says the fact that they're pointing the finger at somebody, and he just happens to be the decorated soldier that takes the bait and now he is the fall guy. So it's happened before. I mean, why wouldn't it happen again? Only time is the last time Hollywood put it out there in a very scripted form, but not so much more scripted than what we're at now. So there's so much, and I believe American Uncensored, he's got some good stuff on his page. I think he's probably a little bit on the whole. This stuff is just, there's too much out there to not make you say, what the fuck? Why are they fucking doing this? And why are they trying to make us look this other direction? I'm not monetized. I don't care. I've got people trolling in the background, and it's nice to say at least they're watching, listening, lurking. They're out there, and I can see them. But I have no worries. So I'm out here putting my 2 cents in on what it's doing. But that being said, it's getting late. There's 5 people in here. And Ann is still commenting, so we're sticking around for a few more minutes and see what kind of video we can run and go from there. I'm going to roll a little bit of a tape and see what we
Always
can
ready to
figure
step
out.
into the breach, always prepared to face the unknown. Stay curious, stay informed. Well,
so stay curious, stay informed. That's a lot of what it is. I mean, this makes you curious. I mean, he's drawing you right. He's drawing us all right into the exact thing trying to expose. Yes, 100% true. They're still dancing around the drones. So much so that they're deflecting it so much. They're placing blame, pointing the finger the other way on the drones. The drones are the root of this whole thing starting. So now they're looking the other way. What are they looking for with the drones? They've put things out there. Is it China? Who is it? Is it Russia? Is it our own government? Who's flying these drones? Now we have email coming out here trying to sell some stuff out. But let's dig into it a little bit. We got 9 viewers. Suddenly we got viewers. We got bots. We got trolls coming in. We got Travis commenting. We got Ann. We got the America censorship in here. Or I'm sorry, what was that? America Uncensored. We at least know that we have 3 people in here commenting. The other 6 people, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, hit it 3 times, unsubscribe, unlike, I don't care which you do. Just make sure you hit one of the buttons. Give it some attention. Give it some fear. Let's see how it does, and let's roll that tape some more. Big channels, small channels, a lot of people are digging into this. The truth is all there, and we are trying to figure out why. So that being said, all this stuff we're figuring. Good night. You're dropping out again. Had a hard work day. Get some rest. Jump back in. Hopefully we're not still live, but if we are, jump in the morning. Say good morning. Next time you see me live, hit that bell for notifications so we can catch back up again. Thank you again for stopping in. Please, some of the bots, please jump in. Drop some annoying comments. Let's talk about it and see if we can. Figuring out is just right out in front of us. So, Matt was your nephew. I highly doubt that. If he was, I'm sorry.
It hurts my toe.
Robin's right. We are in this. I fell into this rabbit hole, and I am looking at this thing. So, this part here is where I'm talking about the RAS system that he debunking Elon Musk's theory on his own vehicles cannot be driven without a occupied person that is coherent behind the driver's seat. Because, as was stated by Travis, that one of the things they say about the vehicle, you can have it driven up to you by a map where it'll come pick you up. So there would not be a coherent driver. But on that, Matt was also trained in the RAS system, which has got a lot to do with robotics and remote operated vehicles like drones and vehicles in the air and on ground. That being said, they burned his body, but tattoos are on the skin, so they're gonna burn. And if you ever seen a burned body, they're brown, crisp, and I highly doubt that there was visible tattoos that they could identify that easily to say it's body. I could be wrong there, but it just doesn't make sense. 7 people nearby had minor injuries and several were taken to a hospital, according to officials. So the motivation is unknown, but it's not that I believe that email is right because he was trying to reach out to people. And the people that he talked to and the people that are putting that out there, I semi-believe them because they come from reputable sources and they don't just put the stuff out there because they're credible. They're not smoke and mirrors kind of people and everything like that. So I keep reading down here. He talks to people and things about that. So he was also on a TV show with Tim Kennedy and things like that. And I dug farther in that. It all goes through this whole article, and I'm going to share that article out there. But so that brings us to the next point. So he was a master sergeant. So just for those people that don't know, the E8 is a master sergeant. You know, it tells their pay and everything, what they make. I mean, they make an okay. The hourly pay is way off because you work way more hours than that, but it just doesn't matter. He was getting ready to retire and be out of there. And exactly. But these people are putting this out, and this is things that we should forget, that we don't forget. And it doesn't make sense. And I'm sick of the smoke and mirrors thing. I mean, we need some kind of check going on there. And so he was E8. So, but Tim Kennedy and him were on a TV show.
All right, welcome back, guys. I know that we just put out a video earlier today, but this story has gotten so crazy so fast. And I know what you guys are probably expecting is me to talk about the update from the Sean Ryan podcast with that crazy manifesto in the email. Maybe we'll get to that, but this is even crazier, and I bet you guys have not seen this yet. Just came across my desk. I know from the thumbnail, the title, you guys probably think I'm completely.
So yeah, even these guys that aren't conspiracy theorists are like, man, this is a conspiracy. This guy's podcast, he's got a really good one. It's not clickbait. So they're very looking at things, and it's definitely not clickbait. They're looking at the things, the same things that we're looking at, same things that you guys dropped in to look at on these videos is the same questions that have arisen. That why are we getting smoke and mirrors? Why is this happening? This vehicle is so burnt up. It is the fact that the fire was that hot and the fact that they came right out and said that they identified him the way that they did is just unbelievable to me. If anybody can prove me differently on my own theory on the fact that looks like it was pretty well done. And I mean well done. Looks like they let that pig roast in there just a little bit too long before they took it off the fire. So if that's the fact, and they can identify him by some tattoos in there, I'm sure he's got some scars. So I noticing the people are dropping off. It's getting late. It's later and later, and still got 6 people hanging out. Wonder what we're sitting at for likes. So I'll take a quick look, gander at it, and see where we're at, and make a decision on where we're going from here. Give me a second. I'm going to take a look at those likes, see if we're doing any good, if people are enjoying the show at all. We got Busted Knuckles live right now on a restream also. So I may jump off here and jump over onto his live stream and have some fun with that. with that being said, at 6 people, I'm going to roll the outro one last time before I roll my own outro and get out of here. Unless somebody wants to comment, hang out for a while longer, we can do that too. But at this moment in time, let's listen to this outro one last time.
Who am I? I am a champion. I will conquer what's not been conquered. Defeat will not be my kingdom. I will believe what others have doubted. I will always endeavor to hold esteem, honor, respect in my team. I have trained my mind and my body will follow. Who am I? I am a champion. I will acknowledge the fact that my opponents do not expect me to win. But I will never surrender. Weakness will not be in my heart. I will look to my comrades and to those who are brought to the world and those who are training me, and I will draw strength from them. Who am I? I am a champion. I will practice, go out to the field of battle, and I will move in everything I can do. And I will reach my field of battle at any means at my disposal. And when I get there,
Very capable, but he loads the which Elon Musk brags about being bulletproof, right? So this is one of his selling points. It's bulletproof. We even saw Joe Rogan shoot an arrow at it and wasn't able to puncture this thing. So he loads up a Tesla knowing it's not explode like he wants it to with fireworks and a bunch of other junk when he can make a car bomb that's going to level this place. Here's what I think. Army PAO is saying that the body inside the cab did not match the DNA of his child. All right. We also know they said he was shot by a dead eagle. We know there was no signature when it rolled up. So nobody shot themselves when it rolled up to it. You would have seen a large signature. Mr. Guns and Gear, he's on X. He goes into this a lot in depth. He's a firearms expert and he talks about this. And there's no signature. So this is what happens. You get a Tesla because you know it can drive itself to the hotel, the Trump Tower. You put a body in it, roll it up. You don't want to kill anybody because that's not the message you're trying to send. You're not trying to level the tower or kill a bunch of people. So you load it up with fireworks and a bunch of junk to send a message. And we know that his signal number or his signal safety number changed. That can't be done unless you're inside that signal account. And a lot of people conjecture, was the FBI inside his signal account, whatever else. But what if he accidentally changed his safety number, goofed up there? He rolled a body up in a Tesla specifically because a Tesla can drive itself up to the tower and did what he did to send a message to expose his stuff. And he's still alive out there somewhere. Very capable guy, but he loads the Tesla up, which Elon Musk brags about being bulletproof, right? So this is one of his selling points. It's bulletproof. We even saw Joe Rogan shoot an arrow at it and wasn't able to puncture this thing. So he loads up a Tesla knowing it's not explode like he wants it to with fireworks and a bunch of other junk when he can make a car bomb that's going to level this place. Here's what I think. The Army PAO is saying that the body inside the cab did not match the DNA of his child. All right. We also know they said he was shot by a desert eagle. We know that there was no signature when it rolled up. So nobody shot themselves when it rolled up to it. You would have seen a large signature. Mr. Guns and Gear, he's on X. He goes into this a lot in depth. He's a firearms expert and talks about this. And there's no signature. So this is what happens. You get a Tesla because you know it can drive itself to the hotel, the Trump Tower. You put a body in it, roll it up. You don't want to kill anybody because that's not the message you're trying to send. You're not trying to level the tower or kill a bunch of people. So you load it up with fireworks and a bunch of junk to send a message. And we know that his signal number or his signal safety number changed. That can't be done unless you're inside